Hello, everybody, and welcome to a jam-packed early morning, like it's any other time, Ring Post Radio Live. I don't have to do a whole bit because Mav fan in the chat has already prepped the line for me. Oh, cry me. I fucked it up. Oh, cry me a river. It's Ring Post Radio Live. Welcome, everybody, to Ring Post Radio. Hope you're having a great WrestleMania week. We got a jam-packed show with news on it that feels like centuries old, but it did happen this past week, and we got a lot of things to talk about. Obviously, WrestleMania, obviously, NXT, Ring of Honor, a bunch of the WrestleMania shows that happened this past week. We're going to talk about everything, and Sakura Genesis, Japan ran a show. We're going to talk about everything pretty much. So, let's get to it. I am your host, Ryan Knightsey, and with me, as always, is the man, the myth, the legend, Scotty. How are you doing today?
Oh my God, so much. I'm so tired. Like, I said that to you yesterday, and you're like, "Did you sleep?" I was like, "No, like I just watched too much wrestling. I'm exhausted."
Yeah.
Yesterday, like I was supposed to watch all these different things, and I think I just gave in. I was like, whatever. Well, it's just out the door now.
Sure.
But we have a lot to talk about, so I'm not going to talk about myself that much. I'll get over it. We have, WrestleMania, Supercard of Honor, countless WrestleMania shows, Sakura Genesis. What's the thing? The Young Bucks are dropping footage of CM Punk putting Jungle Boy in a headlock or punching him or something of the sort from All In.
So
the biggest news of the week dropped 3 hours ago, essentially.
I want everyone to know what our planned bit was going into the show. We had so much stuff to talk about, Scotty and I, that we were going to come on here and we were barely going to address the Ariel Helwani stuff and not probably talk about the Tony Khan stuff and the response and everything and the Adam Copeland response. We were going to do a bit of like, CM Punk was on Ariel Helwani and he said some bad stuff. And then you were going to say, yeah, he called Vince McMahon an evil person. And we're like, yep. All right, moving on. That was the bit. That was the planned bit. That is out the window. That bit is gone, folks. Because according to AEW, I guess, but confirmed how severe, I guess, from like Sean Ross Sapp and Dave Meltzer and everybody, apparently AEW will be airing the actual CM Punk all-in brawl footage that made Tony Khan fear for his life and led to the footage that led to CM Punk's firing AEW. They are apparently airing that on Dynamite this Wednesday. That is the rumor. That is the report going around right now. Whether that is
everyone's saying it.
Everyone's saying it. Everyone's saying
they're not going to pull a bait and switch. They're not.
Yeah.
They can't now.
That's what I was going to say. Even if it was a bit beforehand, it is now treated so real that they have to air the footage in a weird way.
Yeah.
I woke up to this news and I was dumbfounded. Scotty, what was you said you watched Collision Live and you saw it air.
Literally that part and Yuka Sakazaki.
All right. What was your reaction? What was your reaction to them airing the graphic of the Young Bucks are going to talk about All In?
Yeah. I will play you through my emotions as I watch it. So one, exhausted, by the way, had just watched a 17-hour WrestleMania show. So that was tough. 17-hour WrestleMania show, 15-hour main event, normal things. And I was like, all right, I'm going to try to get through a little bit of Sakura Genesis here. I'll watch Collision on my phone because I'll see what's popping up. I didn't want to watch all too much from the show, but I was like, I'll see what's popping up. And I see, you have the pre-recorded video of Tony Schiavone kick in. Like, the Young Bucks will release exclusive all-in London footage. And I was like, huh? And mind you, everyone listening to the show, I also going through the through the mindset here that, okay, well, they're fighting FTR again. The last time they faced off was All In. So this is that kind of like swerve type thing, right? It's like, because that's what the Young Bucks character has always been since they've become this, right? It's like, we're going to play off of real life rumors and whatnot, but we're just going to use it to our advantage. And that's what I expected. And then
then
and then people started saying it's not going to be a bit, and I go, come again? What do you mean it's not going to be a bit? And as Mavs fans said, cry me a river. This is going to be,
we both, I feel like we both don't know fully how to feel about it.
So I do want to say this. Like, I see a lot of people saying this is gonna be like a big ratings thing. I don't think so. I think it's just gonna be like a reaction thing. Like, I don't.
Yeah, it's gonna be big on the internet. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's gonna be huge on the internet. I don't know if it's gonna be huge in like I don't know how many fans from the outside world would like be like, oh, let's go see that. Like, I don't think they have a clue.
The only people this is bringing in are like Twitter people.
Probably. Yeah,
and they're probably already watching AEW.
CM Punk fans, maybe, but I don't care. I don't care about that. This is tough. I saw this and I was like, I feel like this is tough on Jack.
Sure,
like,
sure.
Are people gonna respect him if we just watch him get his ass kicked or something? Or like, clearly it's not that, because in my mind, this is gonna be this is Tony Khan and company finally snapping, getting sick of what Punk is saying.
Yep.
And they're gonna bounce, and they're coming back with, here's the footage. It's very weird. It's just a very weird thing. I don't know how to fully feel about it, because obviously, like, the footage is going to tell us something. Like,
yes,
did everyone fear for their life? Has Punk been lying this whole time?
Or
they just want to show?
It's CM Punk. I think it's fair.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm sure.
I think it's fair to say that his reporting on the conversation is very one-sided.
I'm sure there's been some sugarcoating on CM Punk's side, but like, it's just, I don't know how to react, and I don't know how to feel, but we're gonna watch it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm 100% not missing Dynamite this week. You can guarantee that. Yeah, no, I mean,
Dynamite anyways.
That's fair. I think the discussion point, I guess, is whether or not they should air this, right? Like, in any other era, possibly, or like any other like sort of even like business, a lot of people will like give this footage to like Meltzer, or give this footage even to like a ESPN, right? Like, give it to like a bigger news source, and it's like, hey, we got the footage has leaked and we have it, and everyone will understand that, oh, that's pretty much AEW giving them the footage, but they'll play it up of like, we got the leaked footage, we got access to the leaked footage, here's what it is, right? That's what like every other company would do. Meltzer would probably run it like that. Everybody will run it like that. Even like a big name place like ESPN or any of these places, Sports Center or whatever. They would run it as leaked footage. Instead, Tony Khan is making the decision to air this on television, which adds a whole nother layer to what this is. Like, my read on everything and how I feel about everything is, I am pro releasing the footage at this point. It's not going to change everyone's mind. Like, the hardcore punkers are not going to be assuaged. They're not going to be, changing their opinion on CM Punk. It might get a couple people that are like, oh, okay, this guy was crazy at that last moment or whatever, assuming that's what it is. But like, I'm okay showing the footage. But airing it on television is this extra step, this extra, like, this is now like part of the product, part of the stories that you are telling. 2 weeks in a row, by the way, of back-to-back of sort of like making responses to CM Punk.
Yeah.
It's overkill possibly to air it on television. And maybe it's like, this is the final nail. If this is the point of we're never talking about CM Punk in this company ever again, this is where we're left at. I don't know if it's not the high road. I'll tell you that much.
No, definitely not the high road. We know Punk hasn't been taking the high road, but
he's been taking the road to WrestleMania. That's what he's been taking.
Exactly. I don't really again, I don't know how to fully feel. I don't. It's gonna be like what is the reaction type thing? What does the video show? Like, did he go after Tony Khan? Did all these things happen? We don't know.
I didn't even think about the reaction of it, and that's gonna be the worst part of it. The internet is gonna be a hellfire for the next 2 days.
Always is.
That's fair. That's fair. But oh my God, it's just gonna blow up the internet, and people are just gonna be ravenous, for this footage.
Is there a result to this?
I don't know. What is the end game? What AEW
I don't know, because
Tony Khan
WWE's not gonna let go of Punk for this. No. He's still gonna.
Unless he stabbed Jungle Boy. I don't think that they're doing anything to CM Punk,
I might have to watch the pre-show now for WrestleMania today.
To see Punk's on it. Sweating. He's sweating.
I don't think he's gonna be sweating though. I don't think he cares.
No.
He's a very unique individual where I don't think he gives a shit.
No, and
part of me of him poking has been show it.
But also, we all know CM Punk. He quote unquote started it. And then Tony Khan's going to air this, and CM Punk's going to be like, oh, we should have done that. I'll take the high road. And, he's going to turn it into him taking the high road and being like, that's just low level stuff.
Exactly. That's how he does his work.
Yeah. The end of this only makes AEW look worse. And you already see people saying it online. This people are saying feels WCW-esque. This feels late stage WCW.
I've seen
sort of
multiple
the pettiness of it all.
Points. I've seen multiple Bischoff comments and whatnot. Boy, I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to feel, but I'm gonna feel something. That's what I do know. Yeah. It's gonna be crazy. It somehow became it's the most recent story, so that helps. But it's a pretty big one, and we're gonna spend 20 minutes next week dissecting it, and be like, this is the at this moment he put Jungle Boy in a headlock and he gave him a noogie, and then he was like, and then he's like, you want a piece of me? And then Samoa Joe's like, and they're like, all right, and then they just went and wrestled.
He put him in an MMA triangle chokehold, and Jungle Boy quickly evaded it. Just quickly got out of it.
Jungle Boy quickly said, "No, stop! I'm the scapegoat." Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
One like this. Did the
oh boy, I actually do. I do feel for Jungle Boy in this, which I've never felt for Jungle Boy in any of this, just because I don't know how this is going to make him look.
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
I don't know what the conversations are between them. Obviously he's going to come back eventually. But I don't know. I mean, Gabe Kidd tweeted Jungle Boy's going to look like a little bitch. It's over for him. And I was like, damn.
Gabe Kidd's been on a rant all weekend, and it's all been great. I'll be honest. What Gabe Kidd's been doing all weekend I'm loving it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't know what it's going to look like. I mean, we've always seen the backstage footage of stuff every once in a while. How much of it is part of the content? Not really any of it. I don't think any of it. I mean, the only one you can think of is the dark side of the ring stuff, or when the content itself is the dark seedy underbelly of wrestling. It's never been the upfront content of the actual wrestling show. Even WCW, to my knowledge, never aired shoot backstage fights, to my knowledge. I could be wrong, but I don't have any memory of that ever
I don't know
occurring.
any shoot backstage fight. This this is risky at the end of the day. Like, this is a risky move, even if it feels like you're getting payback at Punk in some way or something. It almost feels like he did what he wanted to do. I don't know if this was his plan. Like, keep teasing, be like, "Are you actually will you actually do it?" But I don't know. The more we talk about it, the less I feel good about it on the AEW end of things.
Yeah.
Feel great on it in terms of I get to see it though.
Yeah, I think the only way that like I truly think that like the only way AEW could come out of this looking good is if the footage of CM Punk is like so atrociously
Right.
bad
Yeah,
that
yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, holy crap. Of course you get rid of this guy. Like making it so obvious of yeah. Like if he, I don't know, like chokes out Jack Perry, everybody's like separating him. He like punches Tony Khan in the face or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, like okay, yeah, I get why this guy was fired. Even then, I will say this: the fact that it's being presented by the Young Bucks, I want a NFL style breakdown where they have the little pens where they're circling CM Punk, and like as you can see here, that's what I want. I want the Pat McAfee breakdown, instant replay breakdown of
that
of the
would be
event.
funny.
That's
Oh
what I
boy,
want out of this.
we're in for it this week.
Yeah, so prepare.
I just wanted to talk about
Be
Windy City
prepared.
Riot, man. That's all I wanted to do. I want to talk about Windy City Riot, have a good time.
Nope. Nope. Oh boy. Yeah. So get ready. Anyways, let's talk about I guess WrestleMania first.
Sure.
There's other news, but we'll get to the other news. I think we gotta talk about WrestleMania night one
Are you
first.
sure you don't want to start with NXT Stand and Deliver?
I'm sure. WrestleMania night one took place obviously last night.
I'll just say it now. The worst WrestleMania night one since we've started doing the besides like the indoors one. The PC one. I thought this was probably the worst. It was either this one or the first one that they did's the worst one. I'd have to go back.
Sure. And I wouldn't say this one was horrendously bad.
I think I've seen some people that just hate WWE like go a little far.
Yeah,
like,
it was a fine show.
Yeah. Did I feel like my time was wasted for? Wait 1 second. Let me see how long a certain match was.
I believe the main event was 40
plus. Not that one. You would think the main event would be my waste of time. Nope. It
had the Rock in it, so it can't be.
My waste of time was 11 minutes and 7 seconds.
We'll talk about it. I'm gonna say we're not talking about obviously night 2 here. We already previewed that last week. But what we are going to do,
we're actually gonna review night 2 right now.
Yeah, that's right. I'm a precog.
Cody did not finish the story again.
Can you believe it?
Yeah.
No, we are going to do an instant reaction to night 2, immediately following the show tonight. Luckily,
we're not watching the press conference.
We are not watching the press conference. If anything, we're just going to keep up with it on Twitter online after the fact.
Those shout outs to Roman for just throwing someone out. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was very good. But we are going to be talking WrestleMania night 2 immediately following the show tonight. So there will be a bonus episode of Ring Post Radio that comes out, I guess, live if you want to watch us live immediately following WrestleMania. But obviously for the audio, the following morning. So tomorrow morning, there'll be a bonus episode for all you audio.
We'll be able to wrap up at like midnight.
Yeah, I know. The show last night ended at like 11, a little after 11, right? Like 11:10, 11:15, something like that.
Starting at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Every wrestling company in the world should do that.
I'm into it.
Well, not every wrestling company in the world, but everyone that runs a major pay-per-view in the United States.
Mm-hmm. I was kind of shocked that we were doing the running bit of like, it was 10:20, I think, 10:26. And my wife turns to me and says, how long do you think it will be before the bell rings of the next match? And we set the line at like 35. It ended up being
9:26. Had to be 9:26 because 10:26 the bell finally did ring.
Yes, yeah, whatever it was. It was 9:20. Well, 9:46, whatever. And anyways, it was 38 minutes between the next one, shorter than the match itself.
The entrances were 20 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yeah, it then became, will this match go past 11? And it went way past 11.
Way.
I was like, we have 3 minutes to 11, and they're nowhere close to the climax. And that match kept going. So let's talk about WrestleMania Night 1 as a whole. Let's start off with that main event, since we're basically already talking about it. WrestleMania XL, of course, extra large WrestleMania for Saturday. Main event being the Bloodline defeating Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. That's right. Roman Reigns and The Rock win, with The Rock pinning Cody in the middle of the ring after a rock bottom and a people's elbow. And then grabbing his makeshift title belt. And
I thought that was hilarious. That this man wore the title belt they got last night or Friday night from Muhammad Ali's wife.
Which also, like, why? Like, why?
Yeah, which was like very funny. And I looked at the belt. I was like, The Rock definitely made that.
yeah.
So I'm watching this, and I'm walking to walk out the belt. I was like, this guy said, I want to make sure Cody is the only guy that doesn't have a belt in this main event. And I was like, that's kind of fucked up.
If anything, you're kind of giving away the finish of the match, that the only guy without a belt gets pinned.
Is the loser. I think The Rock is hilarious. I think he's so.
I laughed the moment that he came out with that belt. I was like, this mother trucker.
That entrance was so over the top good. Like, final boss activated. I was like, oh my god.
Version 10, final boss activated.
The fire Brahma Bull. I thought that was good. And him just standing there, just like for like what felt like 10 minutes, but it was probably like a minute or two.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, this is great. And I was like, somehow this guy had a longer entrance than Roman. I don't know how you did it, but you did it. You did it. And then I watched Roman's entrance. It's like, oh my god, he saved his special entrance for tomorrow. God damn it. I can't even look past the entrances. Like, Cody just had a normal entrance. Like, good for him. I appreciated it. Mm-hmm. And when I saw the 20 minutes and 10 seconds, I was like, yeah, but Cody took like maybe 2 minutes.
Cody's like, I got pace. We got a match to do.
I got pace. Oh man. But
so let's talk about the match itself. 44 minutes and 34 seconds. Super, super long.
What? Why does The Rock only wrestle long ass matches when he comes back?
Well, he did have that one with Eric Rowan.
Well, no, but like real matches. Like
sure.
Why is The Rock like I wrestled 4?
Disrespect to Eric Rowan, not a real match. Come on, the bell rung.
I wrestle exclusively hour-long matches. You know his middle name is Douglas. Sorry. So okay, this was 44
Dwayne
minutes.
Douglas.
That's what it says. That's what it says on Cage Match. Don't get mad. Don't get mad at me. So when he beat John Cena, right, in the first time, that went 30 minutes and 35 seconds. And that felt really long. It was pretty good. And then he goes 44 minutes and 34 seconds last night.
Adds like a whole 15 minutes to it.
Why? I don't know, but they did.
Yeah.
It was so long.
Yeah. Was the pace worth the length?
No.
I don't think so. It was a classic Bloodline pace of we're slowing it down. I don't feel like they cut a lot of promos in the match. Not that I recall.
No, I was really hoping they did. Once The Rock started cutting promos in the match, it got actually very entertaining. When he was just like, he just starts saying like, fuck, shit. Fuck, shit. I was like, what?
I was like, whoa, Dwayne.
Between that and like when he was talking to Mama Rose and they caught her saying bullshit, I popped big for that. I think it goes without saying, like, this match could have trimmed a lot of fat, and I think it would have actually been really good, because I thought the last 15 minutes probably were really entertaining. It's when they started hitting all the big moves and stuff, right? It's like when they started doing the wrestling stuff. It was just like I would have been okay if they did the brawl, like outside, came back, did all the big moves, ended it in 30 minutes. Because then you cut off the 15 minutes that were the first 15 minutes of the match where they just did this.
Where we got Fujita versus Go Shiozaki out here.
No shit. And I was like, listen, I know all of Rock's big matches is him just staring at people and people getting excited. I get it. I get it. I don't need it right now. Okay? I don't need that right now. Like ultimately, I don't think I think a lot of people said like this was a fail. I don't think it was a fail. Ultimately, it did exactly what it was supposed to do, which was screw Cody in the end. I will say this. I loved the finish of this match, actually. I loved him doing exactly the same thing as last year. 2 crossroads, going for that third one on Roman, and someone from behind hits him. This time a nasty lash with the belt. Roman
A little
hits
bit
him
of
with
an
the spear.
upgrade from Solo Sikoa to The Rock.
Yes, I would say so. And probably a far more painful hit this time.
Sure.
You know, and then he gets hit by a spear, and then The Rock's like, no, I want to finish him. Hits the rock bottom, and then in the most disrespectful way, wins the match with the people's elbow. That was the only way to do it, because that move is the worst move in all of entertainment.
It's
And
just an elbow.
It's the meanest move you could possibly beat someone with. I remember how old was I at the time? Maybe 14, 13. I just remember being very upset when The Rock beat CM Punk with that stupid move. And here we are all these years later. He beat Cody. I mean, Cody was already dead, but still, it was disrespectful and it worked. I actually thought also, before I let you come in, I thought Roman worked well in this match.
Sure.
Like he felt like the wrestler of the match. And I was like looking at the 4 and I was like, why is the guy that everyone calls the wrestler not being the best one, which I call Seth? I felt like he was like,
yeah, Seth was put into the role, which I kind of get why he was put into that role, but he was put into the role of like taking all the heat, right? So that we can build up to the hot tag of Cody. A lot of heat on Seth, I'll say.
A lot of heat.
You know, he was put into that role.
Cody got a lot of heat too, which makes it funnier.
Yeah. But you know, a lot of the portion of the match is getting the heat on Seth, so like Seth can't really be a worker, right? Because his job is basically just.
And they did the leg thing, so
they played up the leg injury as well with Seth. You know, his job is just to sell throughout the rest of the match, so we can build up to Cody. I like how you said that Roman Reigns was the better worker. I think, to be fair, I think that's a little bit in comparison to The Rock, because The Rock, you know, he had his working boots on, but it's, you know, his working.
The Rock did his damn thing. That's when he took the spear and he made that face.
Yeah. What I noticed from The Rock and Roman Reigns comparison is that Roman Reigns, I thought to myself, like, buddy, you gotta get in place for these Cody cutters. You took 2 of them. You're tough. Out of place both. The Rock, he goes for it. He's already diving. He's already diving for that front bump. You know, like The Rock is like, I'm going for it. I'm nailing this spot. I'm like, there we go. That's I got out of my seat in the couch. And I was like, that's the Hall of Fame worker right there, baby. That's a guy putting in the work.
Dude, The Rock put in a lot of work. One of my friends hilariously messaged me after the match and said, The Rock tore every muscle in his body. But damn it, did he go out there swinging? He took the damn rock bottom through the announce table. I watched that and I was like,
that was great.
This man's insane. This man's actually insane. There is a lot to like about this match. The problem is it was 44 minutes.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Things, you
know,
the classic Ryan complaint of they could have easily shaved time off of this, and it would have made the pace of everything and the constant build up to the heat. Like, I think if you did the same match and didn't do the walk and brawl, it would have helped. That would have cut out like 5 minutes easily. It's just the thing of like, it was just a little bit too long. And if you were able to cut out, trim the fat just a little bit, make it, you know, you're going for this big time epic of 45 minutes. And I get it. You got 4 people in the ring and you got a lot of stories happening, all this stuff. But if you're able to just trim that down a little bit more, you'll be able to have a better pace. You know, we're we're young fellas. We like higher work rate and sort of the classical sense, right?
I knew what was coming into this. So like I wasn't expecting work rate.
No,
I just thought if this was 30 minutes and not 44 minutes, I think a lot of people would be walking away saying, "Wow, that was a great main event," or
I agree.
"Wow, that really did and you know, like I said, the first 15 minutes of this match was legitimately nothing.
Yeah, there was not much happening.
It was very slow, snail type pace.
Yeah, I'm looking at Cage Match right now. 378 votes. The match guide average 7.04. So that's basically
I
what
think that's fine.
3.5, basically.
Yeah, I did. I was at 3.25, I think,
Mm-hmm.
probably, but I think that's fine. It's not overly done by anyone. It's two sides of the puzzle, right? Like the WWE fans, like, oh, that's the greatest thing ever. I don't think I actually saw that much. And
There's a little bit. I'll tell you that much in the ratings.
I'm sure there is. And I expected there to be. But ultimately, again, I thought the last 15 minutes were great.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's what I remember the most. So that's the good part. The bad part is it was so long. I don't want to watch 44-minute matches in New Japan Pro Wrestling. You think I want to watch 44-minute matches in WWE?
Yeah, it's just, it's the Okada epic that has spanned the globe now at this point, where the idea, and at least with an Okada epic, you get a lot more moves to fill that time up. But
Did you like The Rock's performance overall?
I think it was fine. I think it was totally fine.
Obviously hasn't wrestled in a decade.
Yeah, I think for a guy that hasn't wrestled a legit match in like a decade, he's 51 years old. 51 years old. Good. I think he was completely serviceable. Did what he need. His aura maintained. His constant braiding of the referee throughout the entire match and constantly.
That was okay. That was great.
Yeah.
Like you count. I fire your ass. I was like, okay, see, this is how you be an authority figure of some sort in a match like this.
Yeah, I think he easily kept up with everybody else,
which again doesn't hurt Cody because like Cody had multiple wins at certain points, and the guy was just like, I can't do anything. Mm-hmm. Thanks.
You mentioned already they also had that the Rock was speared by Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
How like that's going to be the thing that people are now going to pin to of how are we spinning this off into the Rock versus Roman.
I love when the Rock sells things.
just his mouth agape, just like, oh my belly.
So I want to explain my story from last night. So I went to a friend's house. I watch it with one friend who watches. He's pretty I'd say he's a what's the phrase for the fan that doesn't always watch that people love to say?
The casual fan.
The casual fan. He's pretty casual. And then my other friend who's never watched any wrestling in his life isn't a wrestling fan.
Right? An ultra casual.
Sure. But he wanted to, come over and hang out. And when that spear happened, me and my friend that doesn't watch just lost it. Because we were like, oh! That's what The Rock looked like he was doing. It looked like a cartoon. And my friend was like, that's the acting chops, baby. I was like, oh man. I'm happy my friend also sees how over the top The Rock is after the spear. But I thought that was a great moment to do as well.
Yeah.
So also, you have the Seth sacrificing himself type thing.
Kind of, yeah.
To push Cody out of the way. So, because there was a point in this match where I was like, is Cody gonna get turned on by Seth? I was like, that doesn't make sense to this story. Why would they do that? But they didn't do that. So good.
Yeah, so obviously the result with The Rock and Roman beating Cody, that means tomorrow night is going to be Bloodline Rules.
Oh my God. This is going to be.
Which, to be fair, as the commentary kind of stated all match, this match was basically Bloodline Rules because The Rock was like, if you count me out, if you DQ me, I'm firing you. And then I love Michael Cole being like, you saw the referee go over to Cody as The Rock low blows Seth Rollins, which is a great funny spot, and The Rock trips over himself, and it's really good. He says, if you saw the referee, he goes over to Cody and just says, I'm sorry, man, there's nothing I can do here.
Oh, that's so good. But so the reason I'm excited for the main event tonight is because it's going to be the most overbooked, messiest, match
Yeah.
ever. And like this is where if you know going in that's gonna be it, you want the most overly ridiculous stuff. You know?
Yeah. For
Like
WWE, this is what you're expecting. It's
I
gonna be-
want the Avengers to assemble for Cody. You know, I want all of it. I want
Who
him
are
to
the Avengers,
bleed.
by the way? Like, there's Seth,
Who are the
there's
Avengers?
Yeet.
The Avengers are not going to be Seth because I don't think Seth's going to have a leg by the end of tonight because he has to face Drew McIntyre.
Sure.
The Avengers are probably Yeet.
Yeah. Gotta be Yeet. Gotta get Yeet in there.
Yeet against no Yeet.
Of course. That's taken care of, you know. That's taken care
of.
of.
I don't want to ruin your bit. I don't want to ruin your bit.
We mentioned before that there's rumors that it's like John Cena
right. John Cena and Stone Cold against The Rock, Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, and Solo Sikoa. It's good.
Yeah,
because
so we get
Sikoa and Cena, right? Because that
Yeah.
was the last match that Cena had.
Yeah.
And then obviously Rock and Austin.
Yeah, and then Yeet, no Yeet.
Of course, the most important duo of the four.
Yeah, you look at that lineup of Stone Cold Steve Austin, Cody Rhodes, John Cena, and Yeet just screams Hawkeye to me, you know? Like, he's the Hawkeye.
It's like you got Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man, and Hawkeye.
It's like, all right, bud, you do you, man.
Maybe Ant-Man. Maybe that's a little more fitting too. I don't know. Feels small.
Yeah. Feels small time over here. So that's the main event. I mean, I didn't really get a full vibe other than obviously the result of The Rock pinning Cody of a continuation of Rock and Cody. They obviously, like I said, they set the playing field of maybe Rock Roman with that spear. But I didn't get a full vibe if they're going to continue with that other than, look, if The Rock is gone from the movie, Cody wins the title. I don't know if The Rock is fully. I think he's not going to be back at all for Saudi, which they announced for May something. They announced. I saw this morning that they officially announced the Saudi show May something. I'm going to look this up real quick.
I like it when it's just May something.
Yeah. I believe it is May 25th, according to Wrestling Observer. It is the King and Queen of the Ring.
Oh, God.
So, to be fair, though, that does not read to me as The Rock being there at all. If it's going,
no, The Rock. I think there's a good chance they just don't do Rock and Cody.
It comes down to, if anything, maybe SummerSlam. It depends how long this movie is he's filming.
Yeah,
but that would probably be the next big time match for that. Sure. But we'll see. And then Bloodline rules, and we have the Avengers and all that stuff. So
if you're gonna get Rock for one more match this year, it shouldn't be the Roman one, assuming he will commit to next year's WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But I do need to make a joke though. I saw Dave report in like the Observer, Roman Reigns is expected to take time off after WrestleMania. I was like, buddy, I could have reported that.
Yeah, no shit.
You know what? Roman Reigns takes time off all the time. So like,
I'm taking time off after WrestleMania.
Congratulations, man.
Oh, thanks, man. Let's move on. Let's talk about. We'll go from the top back down to the semi-main, or let's do that. So we'll start off with WWE Women's World Title match: Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch to open the show. I was kind of shocked that this was opening the show, but it makes sense, I think. Becky Lynch loses to Rhea Ripley. You and I both came into the preview being like, yeah, it feels like it could be Becky Lynch getting the win. She's been really good since the beginning of the year. Rhea Ripley's title reign has not been that good. To be fair, the women's division on Raw is not that stacked.
Not one to fully blame her.
So there is that. And we thought, it would make sense to put the title on Becky. There could also be, I believe we said, or at least we said in the Slack, I believe, that Becky could also lose and put over Rhea Ripley, and they have a draft in a month, and they'll give Ripley a bunch of new stars to have actual matches with.
Yeah,
it looks like it's going to be the latter, folks. It looks like it's going to be Becky Lynch loses to Rhea Ripley, puts her over, and then Rhea Ripley is going to have more stars in the draft, or at least I hope so. For the love of God, I hope so.
I got pretty convinced 2 days ago that Rhea was winning. I don't remember why. I probably said it to you, but I don't remember why. I think I said it in the Slack, but I'm not going to go look right now. But I got pretty convinced she's probably going to be the one winning. And it makes sense because in my mind, next year you now have another destination match if you want Rhea to hold it for the full 2, and that is probably her and Bianca.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That feels like the biggest women's match in the company, and they've just done everything to keep them apart. Because I remember last year when Rhea won the Rumble, I was like, oh, Bianca and Rhea, duh. And then they went with Charlotte, and I was like, oh, hey. And then you obviously have Jade and Rhea. You got you pretty much have an entire roster still for Rhea. That's the crazy thing. So you can have her go another year because you already did nothing this year. So there's a lot of fresh matchups on the other side. But yeah, I have no problem with Rhea winning. I think Becky, you and me talked about this. She's been doing great work the past couple months, especially. So it'll be interesting to see what she does. But she won't get lost in the shuffle because she's Becky Lynch. So in that way, it's good. Like, she's the type of person that should feud with like Tiffany Stratton on the main roster now. You know, like play off the NXT stuff. I think that would actually do a lot of good for Tiffany, who obviously is not anywhere to be found on this show.
And I think the obvious move as well in terms of the shakeup is going to be separating Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch, so that maybe Becky Lynch can work more with these younger people, and Rhea Ripley can have better matches in her reign. The match itself, I thought was actually pretty good.
Yeah,
I thought
it was my second favorite match of the night.
Yeah, it was mine as well.
Comfortably, probably.
Yeah,
I don't know about comfortably. I don't.
It's like half a star, comfortable. Push.
Yeah.
I thought it was very good. I'm trying to. I don't remember much from it.
I thought the finish was great. Doing the riptide into the turnbuckle, because I had been thinking the whole time they were going to do the super one after Becky had kicked out, but instead she throws her in the turnbuckle and then does another one for the win. I thought that was actually really well done. I don't know. They just had a really strong match. Like, they did exactly what I was hoping they did, truthfully.
Yeah.
Did I want them to go another level? Absolutely. But was I upset with what happened? Not at all.
Yeah, it was really good. It did not cross into the great threshold, but it wasn't even just like solid, fine, or good. It was like, oh yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
That's what I expected, I guess.
Yeah, they did their jobs, and that's what I appreciate.
I agree.
They ultimately set the tone for a lot of the night because no one else could live up to it until one match. So
speaking of, next up, Raw Tag Team, SmackDown Tag Team title 6-pack ladder match. We talked about it in the sort of the preview of like, there's so many people in the ring. There's 12 guys, so many people. I'll be honest, this match was pretty good, in my opinion. And part of the reason why I thought it was pretty good is this had so many opportunities where this match could have been bad.
Sure.
And they were able to basically nail all of their spots.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone ever made a botch.
For 12 people, that's impressive.
For 12 people, that's very impressive. And so I give them points for that. They lose some points for having a dead crowd. Because we'll talk about the crowd a little bit, I guess. But
Philadelphia, not a good crowd anymore.
Which, to be fair, 40-degree, feels like a 40-degree whatever temperature there. I get.
Ryan, did you know it was chilly in Philly? I got told about 27 times.
I loved how the weather was the fifth character of Wrestlemania, right?
Yeah.
The fifth character where they had a graphic prepared to talk about the weather the entire night.
See, like, having the graphic prepared was cool for like the beginning of the night because it's like, oh, it's like a sports presentation because that's what they do in sports. And then they kept showing it and kept showing it.
And they kept talking about it. They're like, they just complaining.
Before every match, they're like, well, it's kind of nipply out here.
Nipply?
Like, all right.
You mean nippy?
Yeah. Sorry.
Anyways, so we didn't know. We thought that, obviously there's going to be a Raw SmackDown thing. And the moment they panned over to the two titles very far apart and separated, it was really
cold out.
Yeah. When they panned to and complained and said that it was very cold, but it was the two titles were very far apart. That was the moment of like, oh, I think they're separating the titles. And that is exactly what they did. A-Town Down Under Austin Theory and Grayson Waller win the SmackDown Tag Team titles, and Awesome Truth, R-Truth, and The Miz.
That's their team name?
Yes. Awesome Truth, R-Truth, and The Miz win the Raw Tag Team titles. So we get 2 title changes, I guess, in a way, and we've officially split up the tag titles finally, and this is how they do it.
Yeah. I thought the match was fine.
Yeah.
I just think like they didn't have enough people that would be good in a ladder match in it. Does that make sense? Like, to me, Damian Priest, Finn Balor, The Miz, R-Truth, DIY in many ways. They don't present to me as like people that are going to do crazy stuff in a ladder match. So like, and that no offense, but that's what I want at all times is crazy stuff. They had enough crazy stuff, so it didn't matter. But like, I would have liked to see like, I don't know, just shoehorn like Ricochet in here or something. You know, it's like this is what I think I say this every ladder match that WWE does. Like, just put Ricochet in. Like, just let him do something ridiculous. Because
Where's Braun Strowman? Where's that tag team?
The last, oh Jesus, the last ladder match that I really liked in WWE, he was in it and he did some crazy stuff. That's all I'm asking for. But overall, it got the job done. They got the 2 new champions, and I think that's probably the win in all of this.
Yeah, and like I said, I think another win is just not screwing up any of your spots and being able to do all of it with this.
Sure.
And another win, I turned to my friend I was watching this with. I said that like this crowd is so dead for everybody except for R-Truth. R-Truth is so over with this crowd. Goes for the quote unquote hot tag. That the Miz plays up, by the way.
That was
and then
great.
once he gets the pin, R-Truth gets the pin or whatever, the Miz is like, no, what are you doing? I was like, Miz, he fed into this. He did the hot tag.
Yeah, I was like, Miz, you're part of the problem.
But I think like the crowd was obviously super into R-Truth. The Miz getting a little bit of that just by association. I thought A-Town Down Under winning the SmackDown tag titles was weirdly anticlimactic. It just sort of like happened halfway during the match, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's fine." And then other than that, the crowd was just very cold and everybody else. But to be fair, they were cold both physically and emotionally, I guess.
Oh, were they?
A lot of the night. So yeah, I think it set out what it needed to do. It didn't screw up. The crowd was a little cold, but it is what it is, and they succeeded in what they were trying to do. I'll give them all those little points.
They should have the creeds in this match. You want to talk about chaotic nutsiness? Those 2 would have been it. Would have they probably botched a few? Yeah, maybe. However, one of them would have done something crazy, and I would have been entertained. So ultimately, is that what matters more? Yes,
I agree.
It's fine. The best tag team in WWE is NXT, anyways. Shout out to the Wolf Dogs.
Shout out to the family. Next up, Andrade and Rey Mysterio. No, not Dragon Lee. Andrade gets put into this last minute to take on and ultimately defeat the team of Dominic Mysterio and Santos Escobar with 1 billion people on the outside. I was saying to my friend that I think it's hilarious that like all these people spend the time and money to get cool looking WrestleMania gear, and then they're not even in a match, and they're like, okay, please, can I just do something? Can I do some spot where I can do a bunch of stuff?
I'm gonna put money on Dragon Lee, knowing he probably wasn't gonna be in this match.
Shout out to Dragon Lee, put into a WrestleMania match, and then last minute gets big dog by Andrade and say, sorry, buddy, you're out of WrestleMania entirely. You're missing that payday. That's mine. So sorry for Dragon Lee, but I thought the match was fine. Like, it didn't astound me. It was 11 minutes and 2 seconds. Didn't astound me. You know, we get those spots of all the seconds and thirds and fourths attacking each other. There's a cool little spot with Andrade and Rey Mysterio doing like a double stacked like crossbody thing. That was pretty cool. But otherwise, it was just like, you know, fine action. I wish maybe the action was more lucha, but it was just kind of fine, high flying action a little bit. Nothing too crazy to write home about for me.
Yeah. It was all about Jason Kelsey. So like,
Oh yes, that was another point. I forgot the other point. So we're talking about the match itself, but you're right. Jason Kelsey and whoever the other guy was. I don't know who the other guy is. He's not. His brother's not dating anyone famous. So you have the Philadelphia Eagles players come out and attack Dominic Mysterio, who is attempting to hit Rey Mysterio, I guess, with a chair by just grabbing the chair. But they attack him and then throw him in the ring, and the faces win. And I thought to myself that is such a heel finish. I get the Dominic Mysterio, and I guess that's the argument against it is that Dominic's getting a chair, and these guys are coming out to defend Rey Mysterio and get the comeuppance on Dominic. But he never actually did anything. The guys came out in masks, so Dominic had no idea what was happening. It was basically jumped, and then fed him to Andrade and Rey Mysterio, who ultimately got the win. That's a heel finish, folks. That is a heel-ass finish, and that is what the finish was of this match. And I was kind of astounded by everyone just being like kind of pushing that aside a little bit.
Yeah. Rey Mysterio, quietly a heel. Turned
Dominic,
on Carlito, didn't put him in there. Dominic is right.
Turned on Dragon Lee.
Yeah, but it happened to Dominic, so I guess that's all that matters. This match was just kind of there. I remember when I saw it go on the card, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
It's kind of a last-minute build, anyways.
That's kind of how I felt in the end. So it's fine. It didn't really need to be all that much either.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no problem at the end. At the end of the day, I have no problem with it.
Next up, Yeet versus No Yeet. Sponsored this match. If this match could not have become any more of a meme, sponsored by Dude Wipes, a moist towelette for exclusively men. Because women's buttholes can't handle these towelettes. Dude Wipes. Yeet versus No Yeet. Scotty, this match is getting buried online on Cage Match 2.95. But the only thing I care about, of course, is I've been Team Yeet, baby. And Yeet gets the win. And that's what you like to see. And you know what's the other thing I care about, Scotty? So we get a bet. Over under 10 super
way
kicks.
over.
You were under. You said it was going to be under 10. I went over. And here's that tally marker, baby. 15.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I felt every single one of them watching the match.
It was 11-minute match. So it's more than one super kick a minute. Yeet versus No Yeet. Scotty, give us the review.
Awful match. Horrible. Deplorable match. You needed Dude Wipes after this match. Awful. Dud. I gave 2 matches duds this week.
Oh, jeez.
This one and a certain match on Ring of Honor.
We'll get to. I don't think
at least this one wasn't as long. But my God, did it stink. It stunk. Oh, so bad. Like, I was just watching this and I was like, I forget who tweeted it, but someone's like, did anyone realize, like, throughout this process, they kind of quieted this down, took a lot of, like, care from it, and just kind of tossed in the middle of the card because they knew this match was going to suck. I was like, well, I'm not going to say no because you're probably right, but oof. This was bad. This was so bad. It was just super kicks, and that's it. That's all I remember. I only remember super kicks. I don't even know what the finish was. It was a splash.
Scotty, people see this match and say this is what a Young Bucks match is.
Yeah. This is exactly. Yeah. No,
it's just super kicks. No, this match was just super kicks, which is ironic because the Usos, as many people believe, are just inspired by the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
It was rough. At one point, Corey Graves said something about how, like, this match was like a main event. Like, not like a main event, but like a, you know how, like, WWE starts saying, like it's a GCW Kevin Gill thing, where every match is a main event, all-timer, every match is important, that sort of thing, that sort of
Yeah.
branding. I looked over to my friend. I was like, this match is 4th from the top. You cannot get any more mid card than this match. This match is dead middle. It was not good. It was not worth the squeeze of this quote unquote rivalry. And when you start comparing it, and I understand why they're comparing it and why they're saying the record or whatever, but like when you start the match by saying that like this is the 3rd WrestleMania brother versus brother match we've had compared to Brett versus Owen, and then Matt and Jeff Hardy, and then Yeet versus no Yeet. It's like you are immediately ranking in my head of like, oh yeah, all-time match, Brett versus Owen. Matt versus Jeff, pretty good. They added heat into that match by making it like no disqualification or whatever it was. And then here, just a straight singles. Just diminishing returns is what we got from here, in my opinion.
Match was horrible. Horrible. One of the worst WrestleMania matches I've ever watched.
Before we get to questions, Nas fan has a comment here. Jason Kelsey alternate career was a heavyweight gaijin 2020. Yeah, him and like Yoshi, Utica Yoshi that just passed away earlier. Teaming up, big giant singlets, pink singlet, green singlet. That's the tag team of the century, baby.
He would have fit in the Dan Hansen realm in a good like mindset, just going out there and hitting the lariats. He would have been real.
I like it. 6-man tag team match: Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi couldn't decide if it was an X-Men thing or a Beyonce thing. No one quite knew what they were trying to do. Or maybe Mortal Kombat with that hat. I don't really know.
I think they just looked really cool.
Yeah. Defeating Damage Control, Asuka, Dakota Kai, and Kairi Sane. What do you think of the match?
This match was done for one reason. It was to make one team look good, and it worked.
Well, one team or...
All right, to make Jade look good, and it worked. And Bianca. Well, Naomi, I think, was the only one that got hit.
Naomi looked rough. Like
I don't remember anything Naomi did.
Naomi's running was so slow at one point. I was like, come on, pick up the pace. And then Bianca gets in the match. The match immediately picks up. The match immediately gets interesting. And then Jade comes in and does like 2 spots and wins. And it's like, man, this match was meant to hide Jade Cargill so much in this match.
But she does those 3 moves pretty good.
That is true. So, and then Damage Control. I don't know. I thought they were fine. They did a good job of making people look good, I guess.
That was their entire role. That's all. That's literally all they had to do, and they did it. So, harmless match. Thought it was did all it needed to do.
I didn't really see a lot of people like talking about how Jade Cargill is like the next coming of Christ. I didn't really see a lot of like WWE fans stands like saying like Jade Cargill, big time star coming out of this. I didn't really see that online.
I've never seen that in my life, so the reason I've never seen it online.
That's fair. I guess that's fair. Next match, semi-main event, WWE Intercontinental title match. Sami Zayn defeats Gunther to end the longest running Intercontinental title reign of all time. What are your thoughts on this match?
I thought it was great. This was the one match of the night that I was just like, like this is why I always have my hopes up for these two, specifically Gunther. And I actually liked the story that was told.
I love the backstage.
Yeah, that was really good.
Like ramp buildup of Sami Zayn coming out. That was a really good good spot.
Me and my friend, we used to have this joke when we watched the Avengers. Like we go out in theaters, we're like, Hawkeye's gonna die. Like he has to die. Like you see how like they're sending him off here. That must have been the Age of Ultron, where like he did all the family stuff. We're like, oh, he's so gonna die. Yeah. And when they were doing the thing with Sammy, we just went to each other. He's gonna die. We're like, Sammy's gonna die. And then I saw my friend Dylan tweet, Are they gonna kill off Sami Zayn? And I was like, all right, so I'm not the only one feeling this.
You
And
certainly tried.
they sure made it feel like they were gonna. And I actually love everything about Gunther. And someone also made this great point. They were like, Gunther's so good, right? That he's leaps and bounds over everyone in WWE. And if he wasn't in WWE, he'd probably be leaps and bounds over everyone else because he'd be even better.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, he's a unique wrestler. He's just special. And I think Sami Zayn's special too. Sami Zayn's so good in his babyface role. Like there's few like him in this past, year and a half of him kind of getting back to that. Because ultimately, like this guy coasted for a good 5 years. Like he didn't have to do shit. And they didn't really do shit with him. So I don't blame him. And now he's in this role where it's like, I don't know how he never becomes world champion in this company. He feels like he's in that kind of like Daniel Bryan-esque spot forever to the fans.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately it'd be great. But this was a great moment. Him hitting the El Generico spot, obviously, or as you hilariously said it, the Ospreay Takeshita spot. And I rewatched them do this one. I was like, damn, this didn't it terrified me because like I wasn't expecting in a WWE match. But it didn't terrify me as much because I didn't watch Gunther almost die like Will Ospreay did.
It wasn't as gnarly because the guy perfected it on the indies for I don't know, a decade.
And he hasn't done it in a decade plus.
Yeah.
Probably longer at this point. But it was perfect. It was perfect. They hit it. He hits the 2 Helluva Kicks, gets the win. Great match. This is it was as advertised.
Yeah, really well done. Sami Zayn, I love the whole entrance of Sami Zayn. I thought that was great. A great additional layering of underdogness that they added to Sami Zayn. Gunther beating it down. I would have preferred maybe not Gunther not really like chatting up with the wife so much and more converting that energy into almost even more pummeling. I didn't think Sami Zayn got pummeled enough in this match. Truthfully, I would have loved for him to this is the kind of match. Hey, look, by the way, and we really have this conversation. Maybe we'll have more of this conversation tomorrow. But look, here, come in a little closer, folks. Come in a little closer. If we're in a new era, did any of this feel different? Anyways, this is the kind of match that needed like blood. If we're not going to pummel Sami Zayn, if we can at least bloody the mouth up a little bit or something, it would have come across better. But hey, look, I guess the new era doesn't have blood either. I don't know. Doesn't feel that much different. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, no, I would have loved for Sami to be pummeled a little bit more. Maybe just even the same match with a little bit of blood would have helped get me there even more so. But it was just an ultimate, really good baby face performance. You get the Generico brainbuster on the top rope, and Gunther doing a great job. I would have just liked a little more pummeling, maybe a little less chatting with the wife, and just beat the shit out of Sami Zayn, and then have him win. And I would have liked it even a little bit more. But still, very, very good. My match of the night, easily.
The reason I didn't mind the chatting was because that wasn't what cost him. I was really going to be upset if that cost Gunther the match, but it was just Sami like fighting through. So I liked that a lot. I ultimately thought, this is great. Out of a week of me looking for really great matches at times, this got me there for this show. So like once this match happened, it's like, all right, I got my one good match, like one great match. I don't care now. So yeah, it was very good. I don't know why I would have probably had them open the show though.
Yeah, that's all I was thinking is that I think this could have been a fun opener. Could have got the crowd up even maybe a little hotter. I get why you did Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley, also get that, but apparently someone said online that Becky Lynch had strep throat for her match, which
she's been sick all week.
So I to that end, I can understand why you have her in the opener. But yeah, so yeah, I thought it was a fine WrestleMania night one. I agree that it was not as good as previous night one WrestleManias, at least with an attendance record of attendance WrestleMania night one of 72,000 people, or whatever. The reports being it might actually be 68. We'll get those numbers, I guess, confirmed later in the week. And then, yeah, night 2 tonight. We'll do an instant reaction immediately following WrestleMania night 2 here on YouTube and Twitter and X and on the audio. It'll be released immediately following the next morning. Let's do some quick news items. These will be very, very quick news items that happen like on Monday that we have not discussed at all, but were sort of an interesting news items. They've been discussed to death, so we're not going to get to it too much, but I wanted to talk about it a little bit. Speaking of WWE, earlier this week, we got the WWE side, I should say, the Vince McMahon side of the lawsuit between Janelle Grant, WWE, Vince McMahon, and John Laurinaitis. The Vince McMahon side revealing a quote-unquote love letter to the New York Post in 2020 that was received to Vince McMahon from Grant on December 24th, 2021, Christmas Eve, which she professes her love for WWE's former executive chairman. If you read the letter, it feels very coerced, and sort of the writings, the behaviors, everything feel very weird. They were able to get a post. The New York Post was able to get a quote from Janelle Grant's lawyer saying that. Quote, frankly, it's pretty disgusting that Vince's weeks late attempt to defend his horrendous behavior he claims to this day never happened, is to try to showcase letters that Vince himself coerced her to write. So that is the defense's argument against this letter. I only wanted to bring this up, one, because it's an important new aspect to the thing. It's sort of now Vince McMahon's side of the story has now changed to it didn't happen to it did happen, and I have a love letter to prove that it happened, which is a big change of it. By the way, his counsel is the same counsel that beat his ass in the MLW WWE lawsuit. It is his counsel. He got rid of Jerry McDevitt and took on the people that beat him for a bunch of money. Yep. Anyways, the reason I wanted to bring this up, not only because it's an important aspect of the story that's changed, but the letter itself, right? Going back to the timeline of events of the NDA or the WWE timeline of events that we kind of know about based on the lawsuit originally, I laid out the whole thing. There's a video clip online. There's a podcast. We talked about this previously. But I laid out the whole timeline. And my timeline started January 2022. Linda McMahon, Vince's quote-unquote wife, finds out about the affair and forces Vince to fire Grant, have her sign an NDA, and pay her $3 million via the NDA. This love letter, according to Vince McMahon's people, received Christmas Eve 2021. And I wrote down the month of January 2022, but less than a month's time, a couple weeks later, after Vince McMahon gets this love letter from Janelle Grant, Linda McMahon apparently finds out about the relationship and forces Vince to end this whole thing, give her an NDA and $3 million. I don't know if this is the reason that Linda McMahon and all of this, the NDA stuff started, but I don't think it's out of the question to maybe assume that maybe Vince McMahon is putting out the letter that ultimately started this whole thing in a weird way. The smoking gun, I guess, of this that they think it is. So I wanted to bring that up. We don't know if it's truly related, if this is the way that Linda finding out the affair, but the fact that it was Christmas Eve and a couple weeks later, Linda, according to the lawsuit, finds out the affair and forces Vince to fire Grant, have her sign an NDA and pay her $3 million. That's quite quick timing and a quite quick turnaround. Do you have any thoughts on this whole thing, Scotty?
No, but when you pointed that out to me, I thought it was obviously very noticeable. Just like the timing of it all. Sometimes I always feel like, all right, it's gonna be quiet for a while, and then something new comes out. This was like one of the more odd ones, but I'm left speechless more often than not with this, and the MLW thing actually made me more speechless that he's like, that's his team now. God, I hate Vince. I just hate him. I just hate him so much.
That's fair. That's one thing we can all agree with on CM Punk is that he's an evil person.
Yes, he is.
Vince McMahon's an evil person. Well, speaking about CM Punk saying that Tony Khan is not a good boss, Tony Khan cut a couple roster members also earlier this week. Stu Grayson, Dasha Cure, I don't know how to pronounce the last name. Dasha, Anthony Henry, Gravity, Jose the Assistant, Slim J, Parker Bordeaux, Jorah Joel, and the boys, aka the Tate twins. Then you got an interesting week of the fallout of that. Obviously, it starts with getting roster cuts. We're told it's budget cuts, something that has never been done. Not only never been done in AEW, but said something that they said as something they would never do. You then have later in the week Anthony Henry being like, "Oh, I'm injured and this sucks. I'm gonna have to figure it out. I might retire." And then Tony Khan saying, "You know what? I'm gonna bring Anthony Henry back." I think that has in part the reason of that is the fan outcry, especially with Anthony Henry. You don't really see that as much with anybody else. The boys, Tony Khan said only speaks about the boys and why they were fired and said they did not show up to multiple tapings. He then extended that not only was it multiple tapings in his era, but also the Sinclair era. The boys fought back. They have comments about that online and evidence to support their thesis online as well, if you want to support that. But yeah, we got roster cuts, budget cuts. And I will say it's not great also when Tony Khan says, "I spent a wrestler's year's salary on the Leonard Skinner song," the same week he fires a bunch of people. That, according to Slim, according to Slim J, was on a per date deal, which is probably the cheapest deal that AEW provides. And you only pay him when he works. Why do you cut him early? That doesn't make any sense to me. So it was very, very weird, very, very interesting. Any of thoughts about the AEW roster cuts for you?
You don't want to see anyone lose their jobs, obviously. But I think, like you and me have talked about this, it was inevitable that cuts would happen someday. It just feels like he cut people that didn't really free up money.
Yeah. That was my thing. It's like
if they're per date, which I think all of them probably were, if not,
I would say Dasha probably wasn't. I have to imagine.
No, Dasha wasn't, and
Dasha
maybe
was a day one, by the way, a day one person. But go
maybe
on,
like Parker Bordeaux, because he did have like a graphic and all that. But like all these other guys that don't have like AEW graphics on the roster page or whatever, they're probably per date, and that's like, you know, you're not paying them unless they're there. So like, what are we releasing them from? I guess it's like that agreement essentially, which, you know, sucks for a lot of them. And the boys stuff is messy.
Yeah,
messy.
Yeah, it's interesting. We only know like reasons why people were fired, I guess, through the boys, and there's the rumor about Stu Grayson about how he kind of got let go. And both of them have to do with skipping tapings. And who knows if it's related to any of this other stuff. But both of them have really. Who knows if everybody's affecting that? I don't think so. Like Dasha was pretty much the announcer for Collision, so I don't really know if that's the full case for everybody. It's probably not. But yeah, it's interesting. It's not great for people to lose their jobs, especially for like Anthony Henry as someone who's actively injured on an indie show against.
Right?
Yeah, he was actively injured on an indie show, but approved by AEW against an AEW talent. Yeah. Exactly. So a little rough there for him. And yeah, I don't know. Do these people pop up anywhere? I guess Anthony Henry's back in Ring of Honor. But
it probably wasn't TK's best week.
No, I would not say so.
It was certainly not one of his best weeks.
And as we talked about at the top of the show, I don't think next week is going to be a good week for him either. We'll see.
I did learn that Megan Bane's part of AEW, kind of, maybe. Maybe.
All right, fine, cool. Well,
I'm going by Tony Khan's word.
At this point, I'll see it when I believe it. I don't know.
I know. I watched Megan Bain wrestle this week once, and it was not on a Ring of Honor show, or AEW Dynamite, or AEW Collision, or AEW Rampage, and that has been the case for over a year now, or almost a year, I think. I think her
Mhm.
last match in AEW was in June.
I don't know.
She's been back in the US since January.
I don't know.
Just want to point that out.
Should we talk about Ring of Honor since we're kind of already talking about it?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Supercard of Honor happened on Friday. I believe it was Friday. Yeah. 4-5 in the Chorus Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. 0 Hour had, premier athletes getting a win. The re-debut, or I guess new debut of Black Taurus, now being known as the Beast Mortos, defeating Blake Christian.
Not a great name.
Not a great name. Not a
Should
great
have just called them
name.
Mortos.
I'll be okay with Mortos.
Yeah, like
or even just the Beast.
It feels like the Beast should be in like it's the Beast, Mortos, which obviously it is, but like I shouldn't have to include the Beast in his name, and that's what it is. It's all one.
Cole Carter and Griff Garrison getting a win over SAP, and then Mariah May defeating Momo Kogo. That was I don't think we have any big striking thoughts about 0 Hour. So
Momo Kogo is better in the US than she is in Stardom.
She's all over the place.
Pick. She is. She's done TNA, New Japan, Ring of Honor.
CMLL. She did 2023, I think.
Once upon a time, she did do CMLL as well.
So she's all over the place. So let's talk about Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor, of course, starting off the show with the Ring of Honor World Television title match. Kyle Fletcher defeating Lee Johnson. I thought this was
big shotty to you, buddy.
That is big shotty. My apologies. Big shotty, Lee Johnson. I thought this match was great. Huge standout performance of Lee Johnson. He doesn't get tapped in the shoulder much, but when he does, boy, howdy. I mean, this is a feather in the cap for Lee Johnson because when he got tapped in that shoulder, he showed out, and this was a fantastic performance for one big shotty.
Legitimate prospect for this company. Mm-hmm. He's been with them for a long time. He's someone that when he, first showed up, I was like, all right, I could see this guy have something. But, he kind of disappeared, obviously. He disappeared into the Ring of Honor wasteland of TV that I don't know if... And I say wasteland because, like, I feel like I don't see them enough. So, like, and I'm not watching Ring of Honor every week. Can't be doing that because a lot of it's just... It's essentially dark.
Yes.
So I was wondering going into the match, what does he look like? And he's great. He was great. Fletcher was great. When I saw this match booked, I was like, maybe this is going to surprise. And it sure did. I just need Kyle Fletcher to like stop doing this weird like thing that he's wearing.
Kyle Fletcher's look as a heel is dumbfounding to me.
Yeah, he's not intimidating looking.
No,
he's
not intimidating.
Definitely not the word I would use.
It's definitely something. I just can't really put my finger on what it is.
Yeah, it's definitely something. I don't know if it's good.
Yeah,
but it's something.
But yeah, great performance from Lee Johnson. Kyle Fletcher, obviously, really good wrestler, folks. I've been saying it for a while. Really good wrestler.
I think he's your favorite wrestler that isn't like
majorly pushed.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously has a title, but he loses every match that he's in on AEW. So
yeah,
is he pushed? No,
he's pushed at the level he's at, I guess.
Which I do want to say this. I think he's at the right level right now, like being the Ring of Honor mid-card champion. I think like he still has a lot of character work to figure, as we just said with the look. Like I still think he needs to figure that all out. Like the in-ring stuff comes easy to him.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a singles guy. So like that's part of it. And I think like the more he works through it and the promos and the build-ups and stuff, it'll benefit him being in this role now. Because wrestling wise, in-ring wise, he does the things very well.
You can put that on a shirt. Kyle Fletcher. Yes. He does the things really well.
I feel like the Kalisto thing, the lucha stuff or whatever.
He does the lucha. 6-woman tag team match from Stardom. Micah Mina Shirakawa and Mei Sara defeat the team of Azumi, Sai Kamatani, and Tam Nakano.
I thought they did exactly what they needed to do. I thought they went out there and showed everyone what Stardom was all about. I think it's very interesting. I do have some takes on like the overall presentation. I think it's very interesting that Azumi and Mina Shirakawa were the leads in this match in terms of the entrances and all that. And I did kind of make a joke that I was like, I kind of think I know who Tony Khan would sign if it was tomorrow.
Well, I think one of them is very obvious. And I think
Mina's
Mina
obvious,
Shirakawa is very
to be
obvious.
fair, but like Mina's the one I think would leave in the next year or so. And
Yeah.
I've thought that ever since like America became possible for her to go to.
Yeah.
Just makes too much sense. But I think
Azumi is a possibility, but
Azumi,
she was also announced as like this is a Windy City Riot New Japan like
yeah,
challenger, so it could be we're pushing her because of that, you know?
yeah, but who's also like she's gonna be the one that's on TV this week, I'm sure, in some form. I don't know. I just feel like Azumi's the one that makes the noise that would get Tony Khan's attention. You know, with the way she wrestles and whatnot. But I like the presentation. I thought her, Tam, and Saya were good as a trio, and I thought Mina, Micah, and May Sarah were good as a trio. I think my only like nitpick was not doing Starlight Kid and Azumi made 0 sense to me. Like, just like me, if I had the book, I said this with the American show that they did, and I'll say it again. That would be the two I would put in the ring together because that's going to give you a whole different vibe. Not saying May Sarah and Azumi didn't do good in the little high speed thing that they did, but that the duo is Starlight Kid and Azumi. So I was a little shocked by that. Also, like the masked wrestler, I feel like that's going to interest more people. But yeah, Mina's the one. That's if you watch this past week of shows, Mina's the one, right? She's gonna probably challenge for the AEW Women's World Title soon, which is pretty crazy, and I'm happy for her. I really am. She's made herself a superstar, and I think you feel her. No pun intended. Stardom. I think you feel her stardom in America more so than you do in Japan because I feel like everyone feels to a certain level there. Here, a lot of people are learning. Also, the crowd was very hot for this match, which was very good. But like she just feels like she's on another level, which is great for her because it's weird that she's in the New Japan show because she's in such a nothing match. So I'm gonna guess she pops up this week on AEW television. But everyone did good, and I was very happy. I was very happy with how the match turned out.
Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned before that it certainly feels like, you know, in terms of stardom, that they are presenting Mina Shirakawa as like the next big American star of theirs.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, years ago, or I should say, right now, obviously, it was Julia, and they no longer have Julia in the company. she's popping up in other places. That's fine. That's it.
All other places somehow.
I'm sure that's fine. I'm sure
they ran a show. She popped up at it.
And yeah, and I think like
before the show's over.
Yeah, and I think, you know, obviously years ago they had Hana. You know,
it makes sense.
Every once in a while, Stardom presents a big time American star or star to America, and it obviously is Mina Shirakawa, the chosen one here.
I don't think she's in Stardom by the end of 2025.
Yikes, spikes.
I'll give her the rest of this year, obviously, but I would be she is 36.
Yeah.
So like she's obviously on the older side, but in terms of like when you would sign someone, but she's just such a star, and I think she's really given it all to this. She speaks English as well, so it just feels like she would be the one that AEW would sign. I will say this. I'm just gonna get into this now because we're on the match.
Go for it.
My always my general concern with any relationship with any American promotion. This isn't just AEW, by the way. I don't want people to think this is just a Tony Khan thing because he signed Ospreay and Okada. I don't ever feel good about working with WWE. So don't think I do. You know,
WWE's picking up Julia, and
yeah,
that's not necessarily a
exactly.
steal, but Julia's
Well,
leaving.
Julia was inevitably going to go to WWE, but
Yes, but ultimately
anyway,
she's leaving Japan. She's out of the scene.
yes, exactly. And like my concern is always this is a partnership, and then we're going to sign your wrestlers away type thing. And it's like, that's always my concern with AEW and Stardom together. I don't want them signing away, Azumi and pretty much like everyone in this match. I don't want to see that ever. And not every wrestler has US dreams. Like they just want to wrestle and stuff. So that's not, but that's like always been my one concern. I have no problem if ultimately what this relationship looks like turns out to be okay. We get to see Mariah and eventually Jamie Hayter, like pretty much anyone that has Stardom connections, we're gonna see them work with Stardom. Like that's best case scenario. And if you sign one or two over the next few years, I can live with that because someone like Mina should take that chance and
That was
they
gonna be
can come
my
back.
hot take. That was my hot take is that I am completely okay if they sign me.
I just don't want it like I don't want it to feel like Okada type thing.
Yes.
Because like when Okada leaves New Japan, it feels like he won't touch New Japan ever again type thing, or until like he's ready to leave.
Sure.
With like the Continental Crown stuff like that. Like, yeah, let's take away from the New Japan. Like no New Japan whatsoever.
Yeah, we're talking, I guess, if you want to do a comp, if they signed Mayu Iwatani
Don't
and
ever say that again.
I don't know, like Saya Kamatani even,
Yeah,
like,
sure.
or Azame even, like who's a good work rate person.
Yeah.
Sign those two people. That would be rough stuff. I'm
Right.
okay. Like you said, Mina is for Stardom on the older side. She peaked. She's been peaking basically 2021, 2022-ish. So it's
last year was your big year.
Last year was your big year, but it really started, I feel like, kind of 2022. I was on long time listeners of the show know that I was on the Mina Shirakawa train when the show when Ring Post Radio started. I was on the Shirakawa train, and I was at the point where people were like, "No, Shirakawa's not good." And I'm like, "No, she is." And here we are. I'm okay with her getting signed up. Like other people, I don't want that. We need, as Connor is aggressively fighting in the chat. No, we need a strong Joshi scene. And I agree. I don't want AEW to sign up everybody. I'm okay if we lose Mina. I don't want to lose anybody, but if we're going to lose somebody, I'll take a Mina.
Like, I'll be quite honest. I don't want AEW to sign really many of them. Like, I like the idea of it's a relationship. They can come in every few months and do things, like I like that better. I think that's what all these relationships, if they fit more CMLL, which CMLL hasn't had anyone signed away, so I can say this for now.
Well, I mean, let's talk about the relationships real quickly. Like AAA didn't really take anyone from AAA at all.
Yeah, no. They already had people sign before that was like a relationship.
Yeah, like I would not count Pentagon and Phoenix.
No.
And you can maybe make an argument that they're probably going to make a play for Vikingo, but he's currently injured, so that's whatever. That remains to be seen. TNA in that relationship, who did they take? Ethan Page? I think that was before the TNA relationship.
I don't think they took anyone.
Gallows and Anderson, they didn't take him. WWE did. Tokyo Joshi Pro, Yuka Sakazaki, kind of. Not really, kind of.
They did take Yuka. Like technically, they are taking Yuka.
But they have been taking Yuka for like 2 years.
Yeah.
She's
on the first ever show.
Yeah. New Japan, obviously. Okada, Ospreay, Jay White, obviously.
It's ultimately, I just don't want it to feel like the New Japan relationship.
Yeah, and that's fair. And I'm bringing that up because it's like, I think New Japan is the most egregious one, but I don't.
They signed all international stars.
Yeah, they have not in any of these other relationships like gouged the scene, I would say. WWE would gouge the scene.
They did
AEW,
they did take Takeshita from DDT.
that's true. That
But he
is
goes
true.
back at least.
Yeah, but
Every
he goes
big
back.
show they do, he goes back.
Yeah, so I'm okay with that, you know. But yeah, so
Just leave my Joshi scene alone.
yes,
Please.
there's
That's
not
all I'm asking.
there's not much. The roster isn't that deep, and especially now you're losing.
No. And they're in a point right now where they can't lose a lot.
Yeah,
Like they lost enough stars where they're fine. Like they're perfectly fine because they had a big roster. Like it felt big on shows.
yeah.
You lose more now, you start to feel it.
Plus, like we said, like AEW might make a play for someone like Mina Shirakawa, but you know who else is making plays? Rossi is going to be making plays. Whatever the relationship is, if there is or isn't, but you also know that WWE is going to be making plays either with Rossi or not Rossi. Not going to touch that one, but like there is either 2 to 3 other people that will probably make plays when people's contracts are up. So we'll see.
Yeah. That's a whole different conversation.
That's a whole nother can of worms right there.
I have yet to fully piece together how I'm feeling.
Yeah. Well, it's because it's like I haven't really figured out what is happening.
Me either. Like I know a lot of people want to jump to conclusions. Obviously, I don't blame them. I'm looking at Rossy Ogawa right next to William Regal and Julia. So it's like I don't blame anyone for that. But I don't get it. Like I don't get what it could possibly mean. Like yes, there is an idea that maybe they become, with the worst case scenario, a feeder system. This is what I've seen of talent to there, but that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
like it doesn't make sense to me. Like out of the past decade, WWE has signed 5 Joshi?
Julia,
Asuka, Kairi, Io, and Suri.
Yeah, and one of those definitely didn't work out.
One of those didn't work out.
One of them got fired during the pandemic and came back.
No, she actually left. Kairi didn't get fired.
Okay.
I
just assume when you leave WWE, you get fired.
So to me, it's hard for me to see feeder system like full on. Like, all right, well, when this wrestler is ready, you go to I don't see that. Best case scenario for that.
Venkin Bjorn real quickly addressing the chat. Mako Satomura, but
Mako.
Then, that was like that.
Mako's very unique. You're right though, because they did sign her. They did bring her in. She did leave the scene. So I will give you credit for that. But Mako's very unique because she's not in her prime anymore when they did bring her in.
Mm-hmm.
Still very good.
She's obviously not still around.
No, not at all.
Yeah, they had to do the JOB to Mandy Rose.
So that means 6 out of 6, 3 have left.
Yeah, the final boss,
and one hasn't even shown up yet.
Final boss doing the JOB to Mandy Rose and losing her nickname to The Rock.
I forget. My point. Best case scenario, if a relationship is happening with WWE, is somehow Io can come over, things like that. Or in all seriousness, like the reality is like it's a place for NXT's women talent to go. Right? Like that's their international talent. Like that would be, and that's it.
I think it's very apparent that something that's William Regal would be interested in.
Yeah.
Charlie Kempsey all over the place.
Yeah, he sent his son, and because the reality is something's happening. Probably, maybe not. Maybe like
he's
at the same time,
he's denied them before.
He sure has, and we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's a wait and see. That's where it is.
It is. I want my Joshi scene to be okay, and with the 2 top promotions in the world, essentially getting their hands in on what would be two of the top promotions. It's like
possibly a third with Rossi, which will bolster the Joshi scene in a way, but also
it will be three.
you know Rossi is going to be picking up talent within like the Joshi indie scene, right? So
Sure.
you know,
Yeah.
like
It'll be interesting.
It's different scenario from the overhead because there's
Yeah.
AEW, WWE, but we talked about like the idea of like this Rossi split has like an AEW-esque vibe to it. And if it's anything like that, if that metaphor maintains, the Joshi indie scene, much like the American indie scene, is going to be the thing that gets hurt the most, if anything. And it may just become...
It already hurts itself, to be fair. So, like,
also
if
true.
they're to sign everyone, I'm out. I'm getting to the point where it's like I almost rather Rossi and Stardom just start to like grab talent.
It could easily just be like the two of them and then Tokyo Joshi Pro, you know?
Yeah, Tokyo Joshi Pro doesn't sign anyone, so
yeah,
they might want to figure that out because things are happening, you know. But CJPW, they fit their own thing. They sold out their show this week, so you know, credit to them.
Let's move right along into this Supercard of Honor review.
Right.
Big old tangent, but that's fine. I thought it was a good tangent.
I had to do it.
I know you had to do it to him. Ring of Honor World Tag Team Title match: Undisputed Kingdom defeat the Infantry. I said to myself while watching this that in an alternate timeline, this is Undisputed Kingdom versus the Workhorsemen. They were being built up as a tag team on Ring of Honor television right before Anthony Henry got injured. Anthony Henry said that he was going to be in the tournament. I wonder if the Infantry was going to replace that, and then it would have been FTR versus Workhorsemen, and that would have been really fun. And then they would have had the title match here. I think they still would have lost, but still, in alternate reality, we would have had, I think, a way better match. In this match, I thought was aggressively fine.
I personally disliked you once you said the Workhorseman thing. Kind of wanted to fight you a little bit when you did.
Release the fight tape. Release the tape.
This was fine. Nothing bad. Good. Like, it was just a solid, fine tag match.
Yeah, nothing too special. Ring of Honor Women's World TV title final match. Billy Starks defeats Queen Aminata. I thought this match was really, really good. Queen Aminata beating the holy crap out of Billy Starks. So much so that Billy Starks resorts to a fake neck injury spot that she plays into aggressively.
Listen, folks, I got played, okay? I got work.
You got work, baby.
And, you know, sometimes you don't like to admit it, but I'll admit it. I got worked. I was upset. And here's the reason why. I see some people say like it was clearly fake. I was like, I don't think so personally, because they did the whole let's not look at her type thing, and the camera shots and the way Ian's just as good a storyteller as anyone, right? The way Ian's able to make me terrified worked. And Nigel did, like, everyone did a good job, and I got worked, okay? And I went back and watched it after the first part, Ryan. It was really done well. Ultimately, did I hate it initially? Yep. Was my emotions played with? Yep. Is that the point of professional wrestling? Yep. So it's like,
I think
you got me. It's just
really,
the neck. It's the neck part that got me. Like, I don't like teasing neck because neck means scary.
The neck is scary. That's a line that is a rough line to cross, especially for like a 19-year-old. So there's like you still see as our kid. There's immediate empathy thing immediately there, and we discussed on offline that the production did a really good job of playing into it.
They killed it. You know, they killed it.
Yeah. And then they fooled everybody, and obviously Billy Starks gets the comeuppance, reveals that she's not actually hurt, and wins the title.
Really good match.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good match. I thought Queen Aminata ruled, by the way.
Yeah, she's phenomenal. She's phenomenal. And I'm thinking about like the Stardom relationship. I was like, send her the fuck over. please.
Yeah.
Like, give me her and everyone. I was gonna say one person. No, give me her versus everyone.
We talked about previously of like send Anna Jay as like a to enhance her wrestling ability.
Sure,
She needs
sure,
it.
yeah. Well,
Send
can we
Queen
pick one?
Aminata because she will beat the shit out of the other Joshi,
Yeah.
and they will beat her up, and it will be awesome.
I mean, does this shock you that Queen Aminata has Joshi training? No, it doesn't. She worked with Chigusa Nagayo and Marvelous. She is one of the many. Her and Masha. Would you guess it? Two of the best women's wrestlers in America have Joshi training. Add in Jamie Hayter, Joshi. Like it's not. It doesn't shock you. It's why people want to send wrestlers over. And ultimately, I don't mean to go on another tangent, but I will. The people that used to scout for the international talent for Stardom are gone. They're now Rossi's from whatever he's doing. So it's these relationships that make the most sense and to bring people over. I saw you smile. What happened?
Thank you, Bjorn, in the chat. Tony Storm had Joshi training, but
well, to be fair to me, she did not have timeless training there. Mariah May as well, who is the breakout star that we are witnessing and whatnot. So
AEW signed talent Megan Bain as well.
Megan Bain rules.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. We'll get to that. We got a lot to get to, so let's keep it moving. Ring of Honor 6-man tag team title match, impromptu title match here. Bullet Club Gold able to defend their titles against Murder Monster Sauce, Minoru Suzuki, Alex Zane, and Lance Archer. I saw this and I thought of two things. Number one,
should have been Shelton Benjamin.
Okay. I didn't think of that, but sure, I'm okay with that. One was. I'm ready to admit that I enjoy the guns. I'm ready to admit I enjoy the guns. I think they're good. I think they're hashtag good. Number two, Alex Zane in past years would be all over WrestleMania weekend. Why was this the only match I've seen him in this weekend? Is he booked anywhere else? Why is he not wrestling that much?
He's not booked in New Japan anymore either. So
yeah, he's not showing up in Best of the Super Juniors.
Oof. My takeaway from this match was?
What's that?
Wish it didn't happen. Not because it was like bad or anything. I was just like, I didn't need this to be on the show.
Yeah, it was fine. It was whatever. Unlike Dalton Castle defeating Johnny TV 22 minutes and 6 seconds in a fight without honor, I'll tell you this much. The match was also a fight without heat. A fight without the crowd because the crowd was dead silent. I'll tell you that much. This was
stinky poo-poo awful.
This
awful
was
match.
A poo-poo stinky poopy. Get out the dude wipes, and I gotta wipe my ass from how stinky poo-poo this match was. I'm spitting all over my monitor.
Here's my hot take. Not a hot take. Not even take at all. I don't even. It just stunk. It was terrible. 22 minutes long. I think I said this is the worst match under the AEW Ring of Honor umbrella. I don't know. I have to go back to the tape, but it's down there.
I gave this a quarter star because of one person alone, and that was Jack Cartwheel Boy. That popped me. I was like, all right, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I gave it dud.
I gave dud to Billy Gunn Jay White.
I've given 4 duds this year. I think.
Jeez.
I gave 1 last year. Do you know what the dud I gave last year was?
No idea.
MJF versus the Devils.
MJF versus the Devils.
Which was stunk. Yeah, it was awful. It was so bad. And that was the last week of the year. I've given 4 and it's April.
It's been rough.
It's been rough, buddy. And this was bad.
This match became actively for me laughably bad when it was so long and it was just like this match is not good. The moment I see Paul Walterhausen walk down, stroll, the slowest I've ever seen a man move, wearing a mask.
It was so unserious. I was watching this and I was like, I feel like I'm watching a bad indie. You know? Like I feel like I'm watching like I don't know, something from WrestleMania weekend that like wasn't for me, so I would have never watched it type thing, you know?
I am pulling up the clip.
It was so bad, and I think my problem with it is that
the moment I saw this man walking down with this boring ass
he
face,
was for me, he was the best part of the match.
What?
Yeah. it was so bad.
So bad. And Hassan Albani in the chat. The actor guy got 0 pop. Not a single person.
I need to get the Roman thing in. See that? No pop. It was my favorite part of the match because it was extra bad. Like him just walking down like
just
this is
so
an Emmy
bad.
Award winner.
He's an award-winning actor, and he can't emote anything in this moment. And then he comes in the ring, and the wrestlers are done with their spots, so he's just standing in the corner like an idiot. Like, what are we doing? Oh, this sucked. This sucked so bad, dude. It was so funny. It was so funny bad.
Like, I'm trying to think of between the two duds I saw this week, which was worse. This hurt me more.
This broke me.
Yeah.
I'm still broken from this match.
Yeah. You probably watched it again after just to make sure.
No, I can't do that again.
I felt really bad for the two matches after this because the crowd was drained.
Dead. Look,
and the crowd had already been pretty drained from other things on the show after the Stardom match.
Mm-hmm.
This
killed it.
Killed them.
If this match didn't happen, and then you got Athena Hikaru Shido, that would have brought the crowd back up. But this match killed the crowd, and it was so atrociously bad. Can you, by the way, the next audio clip can we have? Can you do the Roman Reigns clip, the 0 pop?
Yeah.
Can we clip that?
Yeah, I will.
We'll make that note. Semi-main event, Ring of Honor Women's World Title match. Athena defeats Hikaru Shida. Kind of a surprise. We didn't sort of.
Athena's never gonna lose. Okay.
We say this every match, every year at a pay-per-view with Athena. She's losing this one. Nope, she didn't lose.
Nope. And I don't want her to lose now that Stardom's in the relationship. Truthfully, I've already booked her in my mind for All-Star Grand Queendom. I see no reason she shouldn't be defending the title there, or that she can't be defending the title there.
Does Mina have a match for All-Star Grand Queendom yet?
Nope. There's only 3 matches. Last year, this time, we knew all of them. This year, we know 3.
Interesting. I wonder why.
Because we're slow at booking.
Plus, they also had a Stardom show. So
we have a Corkin on Friday, and we don't know the card. Anyways, stop getting me on Stardom rants. Athena rules, man. Like, she is so fucking good.
Yeah.
She is so good. And I almost feel like every time I watch her, I'm in a way more impressed because we don't see her I don't see her wrestle for a very long time unless she has like a title match on Ring of Honor TV. And I just don't get it. Why can't she do both? Like, why can't she just go on AEW from time to time and beat someone?
Yeah.
Is that a bad thing? Like, for her to go there and have a cool match with Queen Aminata, past, when Queen Aminata wasn't getting pushed all of finally. Like types like that. Like I want to see Athena more. Is that me asking for too much? No, I don't think so. I want to see her more. She's awesome. I thought Shida was good in this match. Nothing over the top performance wise from her, but like they created so much drama in the end that really had me believing in both. So great stuff here. Women's wrestling really killed it this week.
Before we get to the main event, I do need to interrupt with hot breaking news. The Slammies are on, and we have the award winners. Of course, entrance of the year goes to Cody Rhodes. I don't know what entrance, but it goes to him. Match of the year, best match of the year. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair, WrestleMania last year. I don't know. I don't know who else was in the category, but that's. I think Damian Priest versus Bad Bunny, Gable versus Gunther, Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns. That lost? All right. Breakout star of the year goes to L.A. Knight. Yeah. Next up, NXT Superstar of the Year goes to Tiffany Stratton. Rivalry of the Year goes to Roman Reigns and Cody. And that was all that was announced. But apparently they had some awards.
Brought his own red carpet. I saw that.
Yeah. They had other awards announced at the top of the show. Fan chant of the year. Can we make a guess?
Oh!
Actually incorrect. The fan chant of the year was, of course, that was the winner. This is a good bit, everybody. Mic drop of the year goes to Paul Heyman talking to Cody for something. I don't know. I don't know what it was for exactly. But the clip shows him actively dropping his mic, so maybe that's what it was. This is an actual award, folks. The Rizzy of the year. The Rizzy of the year. Let me adjust my microphone so that I can make sure everyone hearing this. The Rizzy of the year goes to Seth freaking Rollins for some reason. Is the Rizzy supposed to be a costume? Because I think that's what they're saying. Villain of the year, Dirty Dom. Trash Talker of the year, The Rock. How did he get the Trash Talker of the year? He was back for like the past month.
Yeah, but he was so much better than everyone else. Look at you now, boy. Look at you now.
So the polling period is at least from WrestleMania last year to like a week ago. Like a week ago. That's not a lot of time to make your votes.
I can't believe you just did breaking news for the Slammies. Anyways, Eddie Kingston defended the Ring of Honor World Championship against Mark Briscoe, and Mark Briscoe is your new Ring of Honor World Champion. How did you like the match, Ryan?
Match was great. As we sort of expected, Eddie Kingston's on his way of losing all of his titles. So Mark Briscoe gets the win. You get that anniversary of the 11 year. You get a great closing shot of all of his friends and family in there as well. I thought the match was great. Very hard hitting, very hard working. Blood galore for Mark Briscoe, as you would want to expect. I think like if the crowd wasn't as dead from Dalton Castle, Johnny TV, if they built up, I think just a little bit more, because this kind of was a last second build with Tony Khan even like saying as such that it was kind of like, oh, we weren't planning this until Eddie Kingston was like, hey, this will be on the day of the 11 years of Jay winning. I should lose. And then doing it maybe would have been built up a little bit better. But so without those things, I think this match could have been even better. Match was still very great. Match of the night very easily for me. Mark Briscoe's so good. Where we go from here, I have no idea. But I'm here for the ride, baby. Mark Briscoe's been great. He, ever since getting out of his initial feud with the Jarretts and Lethals and all this stuff, when he became a singles wrestler, ever since he kind of got out of that, did his own thing for a little bit, then got into the C2. He's been nailing it. I think a lot of his matches have been really good to great. And this was another match that we'll put into that portfolio for Mark Briscoe as a singles wrestler.
Mark Briscoe rules, man.
He's really good. He's a great singles wrestler. He's
just a great wrestler.
He's just a great wrestler. He's just a great wrestler. So I give full honors to Mark.
I can't believe we made a Triple Crown just to ruin it. I think it's the funniest thing they've ever done.
Like that. And now next year it's not for a Triple Crown. It's just for the
Continental. Which,
right?
hot take maybe. I'm happy they didn't just get rid of the Ring of Honor World Title.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of funny. Yeah, this match was great. That's my take. I feel like I've said that a lot. I've watched so much wrestling this week that this will be one of the matches I do remember. So that's credit to them. Mark Briscoe's so good, and I look forward to potential Mark Briscoe title defenses because he's awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
He's one of the wrestlers I actually really look forward to seeing in AEW. So, I don't know who he's going to defend it against because they kind of give me him and Takeshita.
All right.
I'm trying to book Takeshita and everything.
Yeah.
For some reason, he's just missing this week. I'm like, I know you're there.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you not wrestling?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wanted him to be on a Super Collision match. I didn't get that either.
We should have done Takeshita versus Teton for Ring of Honor. They're both in town.
What the hell were we doing?
Yeah, I'm into that. We have technically 4 minutes left of the show and a billion topics left. Are we okay going over, Scotty?
I mean, yeah, but we don't have a choice. We have so much to talk about.
All right, well, we'll continue.
We knew this going in.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's quickly talk about NXT Stand and Deliver.
Did it stand and deliver in your heart?
Well, there were 13,453 people standing for this show. And did it deliver for them? I think it kind of delivered. I think for the most part it delivered.
Fine.
Yeah, let's just do an overview. Let's not go match by match per se. You had, I'll do the card real quickly here. Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker defeating Axiom and Nathan Frazier to defend the NXT Tag Team titles. Obafemi successfully retains his North American title by defeating Dijak and Josh Briggs. Fallon Henley, Kalani Jordan, and Thea Hale defeat Izzy Dane, JC Jane, and Kiana James. These are all fake names. Roxanne Perez defeats Lyra Valkyria to win the NXT Women's title. Ilya Dragunov defeats Tony D'Angelo NXT title match. And in the main event, Trick Williams defeats Carmelo Hayes. Thoughts on the whole show?
I thought the best match was the opening match by a lot.
Really? I'm shocked by that, honestly.
Wolf Dogs?
I know by a lot. Like best match and by a lot shocks me. I thought the best match is easily the North American title match triple threat: Obafemi, Dijak, and Josh Briggs. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, I thought some things were just too set up.
That's fair. That's fair.
They did good though. They did do good. That was my second favorite match of the show, which is tough when there was 4 other matches to go.
I went. Sometimes I do this when if there's a spot that I find so cool, I'll give them an extra quarter. I would have been like 3 3/4 for that match, and then they did a spot with Obafemi having Dijak on his shoulders with Josh Briggs on the shoulders of Dijak. I was like, that's legitimately impressive. So that's an extra quarter for me, baby.
Yeah. I love Braun Breaker. That is my big take from NXT shows anymore. It's like I think he's awesome, and I don't think Baron Corbin's bad anymore.
I tweeted that out and said that it's shocking how a little work rate and a little more spots in your match makes Baron Corbin a fun, cool wrestler.
Yeah, he's not bad. I thought Axiom and Nathan Frazier were great. Like you said, I thought the 3-way was very good.
Mm-hmm.
I
think Tony D'Angelo held his own against Ilya Dragunov. To be fair, it was Ilya Dragunov, and he's going to make everybody look great.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably the weakest Dragunov match I've seen in quite some time.
But it's like Will Ospreay versus like a weaker opponent. It's like it's still very good,
Yeah, that's true. And I think ultimately, like with how I watch these, like when I watch these two, I said to you, I was like, Tony D'Angelo's got some skill, and he could be decent, but like he's probably just Madcap Moss.
Oh yeah, like you sent that, and I thought to myself of like, yeah, like when you look at this as like a developmental brand, like you forget that like they're not just developing top stars, they're also developing like mid card talents and lower tier talents. The family and Tony D'Angelo is like at best a mid card talent. At work, realistically, probably lower card. Like they go up to the main roster and they get destroyed by the Final Testament or whatever.
I think Roxanne winning makes sense. This is when they showed Julia, so I was like, interesting. I don't, and I thought the main event was kind of big letdown.
Yeah. That we thought going into this that there's a chance that this could be the best match on the show, and it turns out no, no. I don't think it makes the top three. Honestly,
No, I don't think it came close.
Yeah.
I thought it was like fine.
Yes.
It was like 12 minutes. It didn't feel like a grudge match at all.
No, it felt just a straight. It felt like the Usos match, just a straight singles.
Well, yeah, it was better than the Usos match, but yes,
True. The crowd was into it for sure.
Yeah, the crowd was hot. Crowd was hot for this. And Trick winning was good, but like, yeah, just kind of there for a big main event. Kind of there.
I saw on Twitter Brian Alvarez reporting that apparently Trick Williams is getting called up to Monday Night Raw on Monday.
Trick Williams is not Carmelo.
I don't know.
He tweeted that.
I don't know if he tweeted it. He might have said it, I believe, on Wrestler Observer Live, I guess.
Oh shit.
Yep, I don't know. Don't know.
That's interesting.
Slammy for Social Star of the Year goes to Drew McIntyre.
All right, you gotta stop plugging in the Slammy stuff. Who cares?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
The Slammies don't matter.
It's the Slammies.
Yeah, the Slammies went away for a decade because no one cared.
It's the Slammies. Nothing's more important.
I do like how you said it, but it's the Slammies.
The Slammies, my God.
Yeah, good. Keep it that way.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find the Alvarez quote. But yeah, apparently, he's apparently supposed to be on Monday Night Raw. He's being called up, which is not a full shock. Carmelo kind of has already been called up. Not really. He got brought back down pretty quickly, so I don't really know
this feud. All right, Sakura Genesis.
Yeah, let's talk Sakura Genesis. There was basically 5 matches that mattered. Everything else was multi-man tags. But we'll start off here with the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Triple Threat match. The War Dogs, Clark Connors and Drilla Maloney, successfully defending their titles against Francisco Akira, TJP, and Kevin Knight and Kushida. I thought this match ruled, dude. This match was so good. It was pretty much 6 guys going out there needing to prove themselves, not just to themselves, but to the office in the back. I thought so many people stepped up. I thought Drilla Maloney looked great. I thought Clark Connors looked great. Kevin Knight looked great. And then you get a weird ending where Drilla Maloney seemingly is yelling at Kushida that he's like a dumbass or something over and over again. So I don't know what's happening there, but according to Clark Connors in that moment, he said he got actually angry. So it was a very awkward moment. He like bumps up against TJP. Drilla Maloney does as he's leaving. Don't know what's happening, but I thought this match ruled and is up there as one of my matches of the weekend easily. I went 4.25. I thought this match was awesome.
Yeah, match was great. I think I said last week, like if there's anything that if there's anything that New Japan actually does really well in their tag stuff, is like the big multi-man junior tags from the past when they given time.
Yeah.
This got time.
17 minutes.
17 minutes, really good. I think everyone shined here, which was obviously nice to see. You want to see everyone shine. So yeah, it was great. I, I almost said start to the show. It wasn't the start to the show. It was just start to the show that I watched.
Start of my show.
Yeah, and I just think like I watched these guys, and I think Drilla, this was what maybe his best performance I've seen from him.
Yeah.
I think,
and you're not a big Drilla guy.
No, I'm not. I think him and Kevin Knight probably are heavyweights very soon.
Sure.
Because the other guys in this match look so small compared to them. I was like, we can keep lying for a little bit longer, but they look like Buddy Matthews on 205 Live.
I get you. I get what you're
saying.
You
know what I'm saying? Like they're both big dudes. And yeah, I love seeing Kevin Knight back. Love seeing. I really like Akira. I think he's a special junior wrestler, and I hope that shows in Baj.
Yeah, I hope it does as well. That will be interesting. Let's talk about Baj. This is not the point of the show where they announced it, but since we brought it up, let's talk about it now. We got the lineup for the 31st Best of Super Juniors. I feel like every year we say it's bad.
No, but this is bad. Like, no, last year had a lot of like, ooh, question marks. This year, it's just bad.
So we have Best of Super Juniors 31 lineup. Rusuke Taguchi, El Desperado.
That was such a heartbreaker, by the way. That
Taguchi
back in this. I was like,
especially after last year. Wasn't last year that sort of like he sucked everything, and then the last match he took it seriously?
Yeah.
It felt like last year was his send off, and to have him do it again is upsetting.
They removed Kushida instead.
Great. Great. Kevin Knight, El Desperado, Yo. Don't know about that.
Doubt it.
Kishida's coming back in, baby. I shouldn't really say that too much because Yo got seriously injured and it was gruesome.
In the spot too.
What's that?
It was such a normal spot.
Yeah. Hey, that happens. Remember the Ibushi got injured. It was like a normal spot as well. But it was very similar to like the Bushi injury.
Did he do a Phoenix Splash?
Yeah, that's for Ibushi. That's normal. Hiromu Takahashi, Bushi from CMLL, Teton.
And that's it from CMLL.
That's it from CMLL. Kind of a disappointment.
Absolutely deflating.
TJP, Francisco Akira, Doki, Robbie Eagles, Taiji Shimori, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Sho, Clark Connors, Drilla Maloney, and the new to the tournament, TMDK's Kosei Fujita. I'm into that.
That I'm excited for.
Ring of Honor's Blake Christian.
That popped me big when I saw Ring of Honor's Blake Christian.
Now, here's the thing, by the way. So I saw this Ring of Honor's Blake Christian. I'm into that, right? Because Ring of Honor Blake Christian, way better than GCW's Blake Christian. However, his nickname is not All Heart. It's All Heat. And that is a GCW tagline. I am concerned.
Do you think they just forgot a letter?
It's plausible.
I think it's very plausible that happened.
And then from Noah, Ninja Mac. Nice little spot for Ninja Mac. And Hayata.
Hayata's so bad. I don't really like Ninja Mac all that much either, but Hayata's bad. Yeah. I am under the assumption here that the reason Noah has two people is because they weren't supposed to. I think Atsuki Aoyagi was supposed to be in this, and he's hurt, so he can't be. Does that make sense to you? I think Atsuki Aoyagi was definitely going to be in this, and
maybe
he's hurt.
Yeah,
and that made them go, all right, well, we need a new outsider, and that probably brought Ninja Mac, if I had to guess, into the fold.
Possibly.
Because those are the top juniors for each of those companies that aren't champions. So I think that would have made a lot of sense. Overall, the lineup it's deflating because I wanted more CMLL.
Yeah, I get that. I think if we could have had at least one more CMLL, if we could have gotten Soberano Jr. in, I think that would have ruled.
For that contract he signed.
Apparently, I don't know. I don't know who you take. Hey, look.
Noah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get having 2 Noah guys in. I'm not going to say that you take those guys out, but I was like, even if then, if you take it like take out Taguchi, if Yo's not in, maybe you can bring in Sobrano Jr. I guess. I would have taken out Taguchi easily and put in Sobrano Jr. because Taguchi I think had a good last run. What's that?
You took out Kushida.
Yeah, took out Kushida, so I don't know. We don't have the full like blocks yet, so I'm kind of waiting to my full assumption of how this tournament's going to be until then.
I think Kosei Fujita should win.
I like that. I'm still on the Francisco Akira.
I would be okay with that too.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait for the blocks, obviously, but I'm into the Francisco Akira. Next up in the Sakura Genesis show, IWGP Tag Team Title match: Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi defeat the Bullet Club team of Kenta and Chase Owens. Scotty, I know you were standing and delivering for this match. 13 minutes and 51 seconds of hard hitting, fast paced action, a bloody affair. All 4 guys bled. None of that happened. None of that happened. I think
I can't tell you the last time I watched a Chase Owens match, and that's why my life is better.
I went 2.5. It was fine, aggressively fine.
I think it sucks so bad though for Goto.
We saw his New Japan Cup performance, and then
this guy had a great performance. Like, all right, go be a tag team guy again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm fine with that because it takes the titles off of Owens and Kenta.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next up, not much to talk about here, I guess, but IWGP Junior Heavyweight Title match. Show defeats Yo by referee stoppage by 1 minute and 36 seconds when Yo like pops his shoulder out, and by pops it, I mean like it is bulging out of the skin. It looked real bad, real rough. They try to continue the match, but it's like no, he cannot go. Yo cannot go, and they stopped the match. And post match, they continued the post match angle. It was Doki and who was the other guy that came out?
Kosei Fujita.
Kosei Fujita came out to seemingly try to fight over challenging Show. So we'll see what that's going to be and what that plays into it. Obviously, Best of Super Juniors is not for a bit. I don't know. Could they do a match in between? Let me pull up the calendar.
Yeah, they're doing Dontaku.
Yeah, they got Dontaku. So yeah, it will probably be one of those matches. Maybe a triple threat. They also have
I would do Doki.
I'm down Doki.
Because I know Doki ain't winning the Super Junior. So
yeah. So we'll see where that ends up happening. But they got a lot of shows between now and Best of Super Juniors, not until May 5th. May 11th. So we'll see what happens when we get there. Next up, special tag team match. John Moxley and Shota Umino defeat the team of House of Torture, Jack Perry and Ren Narita. Pretty good match. I enjoyed it. Nothing truly to write home about. Jack Perry did a young Buck spot and the CM Punk spot, and yeah.
Jack Perry's clearly joined the Elite, right? He definitely is.
Feels like it.
Definitely is.
Can Evil join the Elite as well?
They're probably going to show the video because they want him to join. Be like, he was attacked, and this is our company man, and yada yada. I don't know.
Sorry, you skipped my question real quickly. Can Evil join the Elite?
Of course he can. No one defines Elite more than Evil.
That's what the E stands for.
Yeah. Can't spell Elite without E.
Bill. Oh, and the award for the Slammy for dumbest joke in the history of Ring Post Mania goes to Scotty Edwards for you can't spell Elite without E space no.
To be fair, you did it with me.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember what I was saying.
I don't know either.
I love that John Moxley just got in the match, punked Ren Narita, and won.
Yeah, good.
John Moxley in Japan, I will say it again, is better than John Moxley in AEW.
Yeah, I'm into that.
I love the entrance. Chris Charlton had this great comment, like, anytime, he's not always around, but anytime Shota Umino needs him, Jon Moxley is there. And they are like, it's not really a father-son relationship. It's more a deranged uncle and the nephew that is troubled. And I was like, what? I was like, huh? Wait, why is Shota Umino troubled?
Yeah,
I was like, deranged uncle fits, but what?
why is he all of a sudden?
Yeah, Jon Moxley rules, and I'll give my take on Jon Moxley in a little bit.
Hassan Albani in the chat questioned my point here, and that the thing that people are talking about is the elbow drop CM Punk spot. I thought it was Okada, and then they mentioned that he did Matt's Northern Lights suplex locomotion gimmick, Nick's apron kick, and then an Okada elbow. I think a lot of people read it as Punk, but I think you're completely right that Okada also does an elbow drop. I didn't think about that.
So the reason they said it was Punk is because he did the Macho Man point to the sky. But I think you make a great point. I think it's a very
Okada also does that same form.
But I did notice the Young Buck spots.
Yeah,
those were very clear. Which I don't know. I kind of like him in the Elite. I think that's kind of crazy. It's kind of fucked up.
It's a fun idea.
Shout out to the scapegoat.
So we talked about Forbidden Door a little bit, and I've mentioned before about BCC versus Evil and House of Torture, right?
Mm-hmm.
I noticed the rankings the other day and how, despite not being in the tournament, still ranked number 3 is Jon Moxley and Claudio. And I thought Jon Moxley being in this match, along with Jack Perry, and Jack Perry maybe
Bucks, and then Jack Perry cost them against the Bucks.
I thought of like Jack Perry in the Elite and House of Torture, doing the Elite and House of Torture with BCC and like Shota Umino and whatever, and maybe an LIJ or something. But yeah, I think there's pieces forming right here.
And this was the last match I watched on the show.
Thinking also is a good point. If you wanted to reference Okada, a drop kick would have been better. That's also true. I mean, he does a good elbow drop as well, but
it was a good elbow drop.
Yeah, so I think the point feels like Punk, but it could also be Okada. I think there are better Okada references you can make, but his Nick Jackson. To be fair, his Nick Jackson reference was a kick on the apron. So I don't know.
Should have just did a Rainmaker.
I agree. You should have hit the Rainmaker and got the 3 count, like Goto should have. Anyways, never openweight title match. Shingo Takagi versus Evil. Scotty, you didn't see this match. I'll give you the quick review. Basically,
I heard it was chaotic.
Well, it was House of Torture, not chaos. Basically, the idea is that for me, it was a similar match in story. It was a similar story, I should say, to the New Japan Cup matches that House of Torture, specifically Evil, was having with Yota Tsuji and Shingo before, right? Of these constant interferences and all this stuff. However, because this is now a never openweight title match, they need to heighten that even more. So they throw in special guest referee Yoshinobu Kanemaru. Eventually, they get special guest referee Hiromu. They got Dick Togo coming out like Bushi, and then it's not Dick Togo, but Bushi comes out. It was the same idea, same story that they attempted to do with the New Japan Cup that worked, but because they elevated it, they ended up overbooking it, and it got way too convoluted. Shingo ultimately wins. So, do we have the picture ready? Do we have the picture? No, we don't. We don't have the picture ready. So Evil ultimate Shingo. not the picture I was expecting. Can we have that same picture, but holding the never openweight title in the IWGP world? Of Paul Walterhausen. Anyways, it was just overbooked. Shingo wins. And so we get a bunch of Shingo never openweight title defenses. I'm down. I'm completely down with that for sure. In the main event, IWGP World Heavyweight Title match, Naito defeats Yota Tsuji. Perfectly fine. It's becoming a trend where Yota Tsuji's very good, and then his world title matches are like not as good. They're still good, but they're not as good for me.
His big matches, he's very inconsistent still.
Yeah, he's still very inconsistent. They went for the epic 34 minutes.
He can't wrestle those yet.
He is not that yet. I think he is still a guy that is still constructing his epics. This was a good match to help him construct those ideas, but this is a guy that I think he is still a sprinty wrestler. He is still a high work rate, fast paced wrestler, I think.
Yeah.
And a 34-minute world title main event, not something that he can do yet. I think he can eventually do it. And this is a sort of match that you do to help those building blocks, but it didn't quite get there for me. I think it was good, but not great for sure.
This match and the Yuya match now, they're like the big matches that he's supposed to deliver, the big, like, meaningful, epic type thing, and a swing and a miss. But that's okay. I mean, I didn't watch the match, but I've only read that, so
Yeah, it's still. I went 3.25. Not what you want out of a world title main event, but it was like I said, it was not bad. I'm not going to trash it or anything. Let's do a quick preview of Windy City Riot that's coming up this show. The only show we have the preview. This is the card real quickly. Tomohiro Ishii versus Nick Nemeth, non-title for some reason. Jack Perry versus Shota Umino. New Japan Strong Openweight Tag Team 4-corner match. Gorillas of Destiny, GOD2, Alpha Tasman and Hikuleo versus Tom Lawler and Fred Rosser versus Mikey Nichols and Shane Hayes versus Jor-El Nelson and Royce Isaacs. New Japan Strong Women's title match, Stephanie Vaquer and Azame. New Japan World TV title match, Matt Riddle versus Zack Sabre Jr. A Riot Rules match, Eddie Kingston and yet-to-be-named team versus Gabe Kidd and a yet-to-be-named team. Mustafa Ali versus Hiromu Takahashi in a special singles. And officially, the IWGP World Heavyweight title, Tetsuya Naito versus Jon Moxley. Thoughts on this show?
It's a interesting card. I don't know if it's a good card, a bad card. It's definitely not a bad card. For some reason, I thought for the longest time this card had like 30 matches on it and nothing else.
Sure.
And you just read so many matches to me that I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that being announced. Oh yeah, I remember that being announced. I want to talk about mostly the main event, but obviously happy about the Stephanie Vaquer Azumi match. That's right up my wheelhouse in terms of what I'm looking for from these shows. I'm gonna think that's gonna be very, very good. But let's talk about that main event, shall we? I think Jon Moxley's winning.
There's a vibe out right now of people thinking Moxley's winning.
People have had people have been pitching that idea since the match was announced.
Yeah.
And initially I was like, I don't get it. I was like, there's a reason Naito's champion for them. And then time has gone on. Moxley's disappeared from AEW television. And someone pitched me this very reasonable idea a few weeks back when I was on the Mike and JD show talking to JD actually. And he pitched this idea of Moxley winning here. He does the title defenses at Dontaku, Dominion, Resurgence, and then trying to think of the other show. Oh, and then he loses it at Door, which would make sense because that's the New Japan AEW show.
Yeah.
And I thought, because you could get away with him not being on TV for just the Dontakus and Dominions of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because that's just because he doesn't need to be there for the Corkins and stuff. He can be, but he doesn't need to be.
Dontaku is the final. There's 2 nights, but Dontaku night 2, which will probably be the world title match, is on May 4th, which is a Saturday. Resurgence is on May 11th, which is also a Saturday, and Dominion 6/9 is a Sunday.
So it feels like it can work pretty easily.
They don't really
if
need him
that's
at the moment. He just has to miss Collision.
I mean, he can lose it at Dominion too. He doesn't have to lose it at Forbidden Door. I'd almost be, with all those matches with Resurgence and Dontaku, I actually wouldn't be shocked if he lost it back at Dominion or something like that. But I don't mind a short run for him at all. I think he's earned it.
It's interesting that take is kind of out there of people kind of interested in the idea of Moxley beating Naito. And I think it's a nice idea, but it's interesting that take exists in the same breath of AEW is destroying New Japan, and this idea of putting the world title on Jon Moxley also interests people. And it's just like, there's a little bit of I get it. He's also a New Japan kind of guy, right? He's been New Japan a bunch, but like, he's an AEW talent, and a lot of people are hoping that he might win. And okay, then you're okay. Then you're okay with the relationship. If you're not okay with the relationship, you don't want him to win. So,
right, yeah. I think it's a movie make. I do. I think it's. I know they're doing well in tickets, but this is something they've done before. They did this exact thing with Naito before with Jericho. When Jericho came in, won the IC, and then gave it back. I could see them do exactly that, and I think it would work.
The main event of Forbidden Door, Naito versus Moxley.
Either main event or Forbidden Door, which that would probably be what I would do, or you just do it at Dominion. Yeah. Dominion probably makes more sense if you want the big pop.
Yeah, because other than that, I don't know who Moxley would be able to face.
No, that would be a fitting main event for Forbidden Door.
Or you lean into what I'm pitching of BCC versus House of Torture, and you do Resurgence, Moxley versus Jack Perry, Dominion, or what's the other show that we said? Dontaku, Moxley versus Yujiro. God, I can't even finish the bit. Dominion, Moxley versus Evil, and those are all your things. And then Forbidden Door is Naito for some reason. I can't even commit to that idea as a bit. Like it's so bad. It's so bad. Yeah, I mean, I'm into it. I'm into the idea. It's just like, another AEW talent. Another AEW talent. That's all I'm gonna say.
I guess Moxley's a different case.
I think that's what it is. I think Moxley is ultimately a different case for a lot of people, and they don't necessarily. I think a lot of New Japan fans probably also consist of they also see him as a New Japan wrestler, despite obviously being an AEW contract wrestler. So
I like the idea if he can make some more dates, obviously.
Yeah, I agree. Real quickly then, let's talk about WrestleMania week. We watched a bunch of different shows, you and I individually, watched different stuff. I gave 2 in-depth reviews of 56 matches that I watched.
God.
2 individual audios on our Patreon, patreon.com/countoutpod on the $5 tier. You can sign up right now to be able to listen to those 2. Or, of course, you can get a 7-day free trial, listen to those shows, listen to The Ballot, all 3 episodes they released of The Ballot, where I talk about the Observer Hall of Fame entries or nominees, first-time nominees this year. We'll have another episode coming out this month of The Ballot. And so, yeah, worth the $5 tier. You get all the episodes of The Ballot. You get Okada Shorts bonus shows. You get these 2 reviews of WrestleMania weekend. And you get a bunch more stuff. So if you want more in-depth reviews, at least from my perspective, they're on the $5 tier, patreon.com/countoutpod. We don't have the time to do a full review, obviously, here. So that's where you're going to get a lot of those in-depth thoughts. But let's give a quick WrestleMania week over review of WrestleMania week, Scotty. Not in depth of anything. What were some wrestlers that you really enjoyed from this week? And what were some matches maybe that you also enjoyed from this week?
All right.
This is like an extended match of the week segment, basically.
Yeah. Blue Panther versus Bryan Danielson.
And maybe also it's kind of a state of indie wrestling. After
it is not good.
You get this temperature check of indie wrestling, and how do you feel about it?
there's some things I didn't get to see that I've actually heard great things about, like the ETU versus Dragon Gate show.
I said on audio that I heard the Dragon Gate guys have not been good all week.
Yeah.
So I'm not interested in that show anymore. And then I
And
wook
then
up and I
that's
saw a
when
bunch
they
of
did
people,
things.
being like, "This show is great." I'm like, "All right, I'll watch it."
Yeah. Let's see. Let me give a scroll. I think looking at Bloodsport first, it was a better Bloodsport than the past few years. I think that's kind of my overall take on the show. I don't think anything was like unbelievable, and I don't really expect that. But I think like with the Abe Namora match, which was quite good. I thought Nemeth and Speedball did well. I think the fun of Baszler being on there and Dempsey being on there worked well. I thought Dempsey and Mikowski, was it?
Yeah, Pat Mikowski.
They had a fun little match, and I think Masha did a really good job this week. Like
Yeah.
everywhere. It's very clear like she is a different wrestler outside of TNA, as you said to me. It's why like when we had the conversation a few weeks ago, I think it was privately when we were talking about the tag team, and I was like, I think she's fantastic. I don't think it's her fault. And I felt pretty redeemed after this week. Like of all the matches she had, she was one of those clear shining stars of the week.
I
sure.
I think there's a good it's not a blowaway per se, but I think she's up there and possibly the MVP of the weekend. The Shayna match was really good, better than kind of expected. The Shuri match, hey, I'll 30-minute time limit draw that you definitely felt was going to be a time limit draw in the first 5.
I liked it for the circumstance, which
Sure.
was doing a 30-minute time limit draw at 1 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, I get that.
I think there's a lot of good things there that if they had a 15-minute title match, they could have a great match.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Shayna match definitely over-delivered.
And then Revolver and Hog, Masha Son versus Mike Bailey was one of the best matches of the weekend for sure.
That's not shocking.
That was really good.
Okay.
Mike Bailey also is an MVP contender, I gotta say, because he was
also that's not shocking. He had some good he was really good on the DDT show, and I think another place where they shot another match that shined was Ricky Knight Jr. versus Yoichi.
I was about to say I was going to do a bit where I said let's shout out some people that had one match and ruled. Yoichi, baby.
Yeah. Yoichi, the former Yoshiki Inamura, very good still. I like his new presentation. I think.
Doesn't he look 10 years older?
Yes.
He looks so much older.
I think it's the hair.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that was really well done. I thought for me personally, in my taste, I thought Action Wrestling Dean was probably my show of the weekend. I thought, and possibly my match of the weekend. I got to look through it all, but possibly my match of the weekend was Mad Dog Connolly versus Demus in a dog collar match. It ruled. It was bloody. It was exactly what you expect. They were throwing each other into the actual crowd. And the crowd's taking bumps.
Match I've seen from that show.
I thought it was great. I went 4 flat. Mad Dog Conley. I've seen 2 matches of his. This match and the one called Manders dog color match earlier this year, which I talked about on the show previously. And this guy rules. I love Mad Dog Conley. I'm in. I'm fully in. I'm invested. What do you think of that match? You said you saw it.
That was fine.
Fine? Oh. Oh.
I know a lot of people that like this show and this match, so it's just a me thing.
So you watch this match.
Yeah.
And do you see what I meant in Slack? So Scotty asked me, because Scotty knew I was going to watch this show and I was interested in the show. And Scotty asked me for any recs. And what I told to him is, this show is one of my favorite shows. A lot of stuff really ruled on it. I don't think you'll like any of it. And the fact that, in my opinion, you didn't like the best match on the show, and a lot of people also, to be fair, really like the Makabe Timothy Thatcher match, the main event, completely different than the dog collar match. But the fact that you didn't like that match ensures that my my thought was correct. Because I think this is a distinct, interesting card that is very strange. And if you're not gonna be invested in it or into it, like you weren't really into the card, I there's no way I can get you into this show.
Yeah, I get you.
If anything, if you liked Matt Mikowski and Charlie Dempsey, you may like him versus Arez on the show. That was really good. That was really well
done. Also, I just want to obviously give my shout outs to the Joshi shows that played. The Stardom show was way too fast. Way too fast. Like, I don't know what the deal was. Like, I'm watching the show. I'm like, why are we speed running through this? I was like, I know there's 5 matches, which is pretty low anyways. And I think next time they come, they should bring a better card. This was an improvement over the last time they were here. I did my side-by-side comparison once the show was over. People got a title change. Cool. I was angry, but cool.
A match that stunk.
Yeah, match wasn't good. They didn't do a high-speed title match. They did a high-speed title match, but it was not high speed. It was actually very upsetting. But I thought the main event was very good, and obviously the Tony Storm thing got a lot of people talking. I thought that was very well done.
Crowd was great.
Crowd was great. Crowd was hot. They sold it out, over 900 in attendance, which was really cool. A lot of people run the 2300 arena these days. Crowds aren't usually that good in the 2300 arena these days. So
that feels like an MLW shot. Major League Ryan doesn't know how he feels about that one.
And
by the way, they weren't speed running the show. This was a high speed show. Just want to make that clear.
It was so quick though, hour and 44 minutes. Which I don't know, feels like I would have been upset had I gone, had I been able to go, because there was a chance I might have just been able to do this show. If I drove 5+ hours for 1 hour and 44 minutes, I would have been very upset.
That's total show time. 49 minutes and 18 seconds of wrestling time.
Yeah, which tough. But obviously it was cool for them. This felt like the reintroduction for them to America.
Sure.
And it'll be all right. We're going to be back here time and time again now. And I think that's great. Because it's very clear to me that Stardom is beloved in this country now. And I think a lot of people want to see them, and the Ring of Honor match helped a lot. TJPW also sold out their show. They did a good job. I saw Dave actually rated the Miyu Yamashita Miyu Watanabe match this week. I don't think I've ever seen him rate a TJPW match. He gave 4.5, which is like 5 stars in Dave Joshi talk.
Yeah, I'll look it up real quick to see if they had anything else. But keep going.
But I thought they had a fun show. It very much fit their thing. If you want to watch a match from that show, I actually think the opener, Daisy Monkey versus Yuki Aino and Zara Sakir, was probably the best one to see, because I love Daisy Monkey, but Zara Zakir is a real prospect here in the Indies, and she's going to be something. Great.
According to Cage Match, Dave rated one other TJPW match, Miyu Yamashita versus Yuka Sakazaki, June 6, 2021 at Cyber Fight Festival, which that explains why. He gave it 3.5.
So this is the first true TJPW match he rated.
Pretty much.
Okay.
At least according to Cage Match.
Pretty big deal. And then anywhere, I'm trying to think real quick. Anything else I have?
Spring Break 8. Did you watch any of Spring Break 8?
I didn't get to any of that, though. I ended up getting rid of a lot. I only was going to watch 2 matches from it, but I might not watch the Dragon Gate match because they've been so upsetting this week.
Yeah.
Anything good from that?
No.
No.
No, it was not. It was aggressively fine at best. If I had to recommend something, I would say Nick Wayne, Jordan Oliver, Mike Bailey versus Kerry Morton, Ricky Morton, and Robert Gibson.
That's crazy.
But the match was interesting in a way that I found interesting. I don't necessarily. It was built around the idea of Kerry Morton being a super heel and being like, I'm the future legend. I'm a big deal. It's not about Wayne, Oliver, Bailey. It's not even about Ricky and Robert. And so the entire match was built around Kerry beating down Wayne, Oliver, and Bailey and refusing to tag out and
That's
being like,
funny.
I'm not going to do that. Which
very funny.
Which helped hide Ricky and Robert. And then when they were able to do a couple different things. I don't think Robert Gibson took a single bump. But they were able to do a couple things.
Robert Gibson has been wrestling for the past 5 years and hasn't taken a single bump.
Yeah. I thought it was well put together and the story was really well done. I found it interesting, but I ultimately gave it like 3 1/4. So,
Yeah, I've ended up deleting a lot of things like that I haven't got to because it's like I have Wrestlemania again tonight.
Yeah.
I may not watch much else today, so it helps to have you have done all this. So it's like, should I go out of my way? But you've made sure I save certain matches, which is nice too. I haven't seen any of the Mark Hitchcock show. Has not happened, but I've heard it's the most underwhelming one of the past few years.
I heard the only good match or really good match. Well, I've heard Oku and Teton is great. And I've also heard, I don't know about great, but it was one of the better matches on the show. And then I also heard another good match was Josh Alexander versus Tanaka.
Yeah, that's the one that I want to watch. I've heard that the crowd was brutal for the Mystico match.
Yes, the CMLL Dragon Gate match. The crowd was sitting on their hands for sure. At least that's what I've heard. Yeah. So, thoughts on the indie scene, real quickly. Last thoughts on the indie scene.
Oh, it's not good.
Yeah, there are some. It's at the point where it's like I don't think it's any promotion. It's just like individual wrestlers that are like, oh, this guy's good, but like in terms of this promotion's hot, I guess you could say GCW is hot, but like in terms of my instincts, it's like I don't like the stuff.
It's very apparent that like once AEW came in, the indie scene was doomed because like, and I was listening to Observer Radio, and Dave made this great point. When WWE's hot, when they're hot, indie promotions are not.
Yeah, and like, even the second promotion is
right, and it doesn't help that the second promotion also has a ton of talent that isn't happening. Like, obviously, I would not get rid of AEW. That's not what I'm saying. I don't care enough about the current state of the indies to ever get rid of AEW. I enjoy AEW almost every time I watch AEW. But it's very apparent with them pulling back a lot of their talent now because, the past few years, at least you had talent to count on, like Jon Moxley. Billy Stark's still doing it, but like Brian Keith was on one show, for example. Brian Keith felt like a guy that could have been a star this weekend, but he signed. They've signed a lot of the people that could have been stars, and that's a good thing. Obviously, you want them to get paid, but that is like my ultimate take is like the scene ain't hot. The people that we said were great are TNA wrestlers.
Yeah,
so it's like that says more about the scene.
A lot of the international talent had to come in and bolster.
It was pretty much like the Joshi talent and the DDT talent, because the Dragon Gate talent, I mean, they finally showed up yesterday, I guess, in terms of their matches. But
apparently, yeah.
I can't tell you, but I saw worldwide praise for a Mike Santana match. So I was stunned. Hey, thank you, AEW. They let him go. But yeah, I don't think WrestleMania week would WrestleMania week. Okay, here's my final take. WrestleMania week would be really bad without international talent.
Yes. Yeah.
Like
Especially this year.
unwatchable.
Yeah. No, and I think it's not just that the American indie talent is not up to par. Like I said, there are individual guys that are like, okay, that's something. You know, Jordan Oliver, I think, is something. I think Mad Dog Connolly is something. You know, I think there's a bunch of guys that are something. But it's not just that like these guys, there's not a lot of people and the promotions themselves are hot. It's just like the promotions aren't hot and the matchmakers and the bookers of said promotions I don't think are doing anything to really get anyone get me invested. You know,
Yeah.
like when you look at like Spring Break 8, and I said this in the Patreon review, but I said that like I treat Spring Break every year as like GCW's big show. And if GCW is the top promotion, then it's the ultimate temperature check on the indies. And I walked away from that show being like it was bad.
Yeah.
And you know, and I don't think the booking of the show was conducive the best way to the wrestlers. One of the best matches I saw this week that we can talk about here was Jordan Oliver versus Angel Blanc from GCW, JCW versus the World. And that is an international talent against Jordan Oliver, a top level indie guy at this point. And that's a good match to put together. But like more of those guys should have more singles matches. Jordan Oliver should be doing more singles matches. Or even then, I'll take a Nick Wayne Jordan Oliver tag versus a couple guys. But like do some more of that stuff. I like the 6-man of Kerry Morton and the Rock and Roll Express of Jordan Oliver, but that could have been anybody. That didn't have to be Jordan Oliver, Nick Wayne, and Mike Bailey. They were just there because they're good at bumping and they can bump for the old guys, you know? That could have been anybody. And we could have instead gotten Jordan Oliver in like a singles or something, you know? A more interesting match. The Astronauts versus East West Express, you know? You know, that could have been fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you. Yeah. Man,
the match booking is not conducive to good cards either. And that plays into it.
I almost feel like that was kind of shown a little on Supercard of Honor.
Yeah, yeah.
And I say that like the best matches were either international talent or like AEW guys. And when I say AEW guys, I mean like not the Ring of Honor guys only, or
you're talking Fletcher, you're talking Briscoe, Eddie Kingston.
Right. And like you get that one breakthrough, right? We got Lee Johnson. I don't even think that. I think Lee Johnson's probably the biggest breakthrough this entire week in terms of guys that like we're not getting talked about at all.
Yeah, I think that's certainly plausible.
He definitely had the best match out of like people that aren't talked about at all.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like personally, I would throw Mad Dog Connolly in there. I know I'm super high on him right now, but I think he had a great match. I think that's another breakthrough guy. But even then, like people are talking about the Manager's match from earlier this year, where no one was talking about any big shotty Lee match for the past year, maybe, you know? So I think what you're saying is completely valid.
Yeah. And I've heard, I will say this, I haven't seen any of his matches yet. I do want to watch the little match from Dragon Gate show yesterday. I've heard the name Marcus Mathers a few times.
He was also impressive to me this weekend.
Him and Alec Price are the two that like I keep an eye on continuously. But you know, we you have a take on Alec Price and what's holding him down.
Oh yeah, you mean his tag team partner?
Mm-hmm.
The winner of the Grab the Brass Ring ladder match, Cole Radrick. Which, if I'm not mistaken, the Grab the Brass Ring ladder match is a number 1 contenders ladder match. So it's going to be Blake Christian versus Cole Radrick in a 45-minute epic match. I went into Cole Radrick a lot more on the Patreon. I'll tell you that much. Any other thoughts? I don't think we really need to do a match of the week because I think we're already super over. I think we gave a lot more people.
Blue Panther and Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately what the match of the week is going to be, folks. So yeah, that's it for Ring Post Radio. Indies are WWE is hot. Indies are not. Ring of Honor is okay, and New Japan is, I don't know anything that rhymes with okay. Scotty, anything to plug?
No, we're not doing. I will say this though, because I won't say it anywhere else. We're not releasing a Stardom Road this week. We will be doing a double release, back-to-back weeks. We will be releasing on the 16th and 23rd. So keep an eye out for that. I will say that though, and follow me at Scott E Wrestling on Twitter.
Yeah, we'll, like I said, we'll have a immediate reaction following WrestleMania Night 2, exactly where you are right now. So if wherever you're watching this live, we'll be having an instant reaction, exactly the same location later in the day. So make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube, or at the very least, following us at CountOutPod on Twitter or at Scott E Wrestling on Twitter. You can follow me at Ryan Knightsey, but it's a dead account pretty much. I'm going to use Twitter. I should probably get rid of the graphic here, but it's fine. Next week should be a good show as well. We'll be talking Windy City Riot, talking TNA Rebellion, and guess what? There's a little show called AEW Dynasty we'll be previewing as well next week. So nice little show then. And maybe last I heard, I haven't heard any updates, but maybe we'll get a guest. Maybe we'll see. That is it for this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. We hope you all enjoy the show. We'll see you all next time. Goodbye, everybody.